and welcome back to another podcast. This is What's This Podcast.
You forgot what we were called.
I can't remember if it's What's This Podcast or What's That Podcast.
Well, it's What's This?
It's What's This?
It's What's This
We've
Podcast.
done enough.
I know.
You've introed most of them.
I know, but
Subscribe and like.
You know when you say a word too much and it loses its meaning? That's what it is. So before we go any further...
Is that like I love you, son?
He knows. It never loses its
You've
meaning.
got to do the subscribe and like bit.
Oh yeah. So if you're listening to this on YouTube, please subscribe and like and hit the notification button. Don't subscribe, hit the notification button and then like. Make sure you subscribe, like, then hit the notification button just to annoy Ethan.
Yeah, you got to do that in that order.
And if you listen to it on the podcast, then follow us so you don't miss anything.
All of the links are in the comments or whatever description thing.
Yeah, if you follow us on Instagram, What's This
Twitter.
Podcast, Twitter, What's This Podcast. Are we on Facebook?
No, not on Facebook.
Because that's for the oldies.
Yes, for the
Yeah,
oldies.
old
We already
people
decided
like
that's
listening
for
to other
Old people
people.
like listening to other old people. Yeah, get us on Facebook, Ethan. What are you playing at?
You're
Are you
not
on
old. Are you
TikTok?
saying you're old?
No, I don't like Facebook. I despise it. But other people love it. So,
You know,
But
people
you're
might
saying old
listen to
people
something.
listen to old people. Are you classing you as an old person?
Yes.
I am definitely old.
yes.
Are you on TikTok?
No, not on TikTok.
don't do
I'm
shit
not on
on
TikTok. Is TikTok? Can you do things on TikTok? I thought it was just watching videos.
I don't
Yeah,
understand.
but you can post a
TikTok.
video, so we could post videos of us talking.
All right. Do that then, Ethan. Come on, you're the media guy.
But yeah, you introducing us?
This
Yes,
is the intro.
so-
The intro's been
This
done.
is the intro. We're doing it now as I speak. So I am John. I am joined by my child and heir to my fortune.
Surely you give it all to Alyssa.
Ethan.
And via the medium
Alyssa will
of,
do too well, so I'll need it.
that gruff manly voice you can hear via the medium of broadband is...
Jim
Yeah.
or Bob.
And we're joined because Ronnie can't be with us today because I still think he's feeling slightly under the weather. And in fact, it's because we recorded this podcast at the same day we recorded the other podcast that you probably listened to before. And
Just doing a
therefore
twofer.
Yeah. Therefore, he's still ill. We are joined by...
Rachel.
Did you forget your own name, or were you
I
expecting him
was
to say it?
waiting for John to say.
This is so we
something.
have a... we were told that we aren't diverse enough. So
Who told us that?
I did.
Okay.
Rachel did. So,
Is that just because she wanted to be on?
Yeah. Rachel is mixed race, disabled, and she's only 3'6".
She's only got thumb, pointer, a little finger.
So she's got... so she's ticking all the boxes for us today.
With difficulty, though, with that hand.
Yeah, that's true, yeah. Just has the pen in her mouth.
Oh, we're going to have to cut all that.
Rachel's joining us just to round out this conversation, which today's conversation is about...
Paranormal, I think we decided on.
I thought we were saying weird stuff.
Yeah, but we're going to call it weird and spooky.
Spooky and
but
weird.
it's basically paranormal.
Spooky
Basically, we
weird
had a
stuff.
debate whether Bigfoot and Loch Ness is paranormal, so we're sort of calling it like weird and spooky. But...
So I'm going to go through a little list that I've written down here of
Can
stuff.
I just say, I'm John's wife. I'm not just
Oh, yeah.
I'm not just a random person that's walked in and decided she's being part of the
See,
podcast.
how good does that make me? Because I married someone so diverse. See, equal
You're
opportunities.
showing all your fetishes,
I was going to
fetishes off.
say, good or weird.
Now, would you describe yourself? I think your husband described you as mixed race.
Yeah.
Or is it dual heritage?
I don't
Or-
know.
or-
To be fair, I'm going to be really non-PC and say that up until a few months ago, I called myself half-caste because that's what we said when I was growing up. So I guess that just goes to show how different the world is now.
There we go.
For the better.
For the better, yes.
So yeah, go for your list of things.
Right.
Paranormal
What I'm going to do
things.
is I'm going to read this list of paranormal things out that I've written, and I just want to see if you think these are real considerations. I.e., do you believe that they are there's something there, or do you think it's all just bullshit?
Is this just a yes/no?
I think so.
Okay.
We'll see what happens.
And
Right.
then we'll discuss.
Yes, no, and then discuss later.
Well, no, we'll do the entire list, then discuss.
Yeah.
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 Does that sound good? Sounds good. Go.
Witchcraft.
No.
Yes.
What about you?
Hold on. Have I just said yes, I think it's a thing?
Yes.
Yes.
A real thing.
Yes, I do.
Cool.
What about you?
No.
Okay.
I didn't say I believed in magic, but I do believe in witchcraft.
Okay.
I believe that
believe
people,
in
I believe that people
magic.
practice it. Whether anything comes of it is another matter.
Yeah, because Alyssa practices.
Well, okay. Well, okay. We're
Well,
getting
so
probably a
She's
little
a,
bit deep.
she a white witch?
She's into
What's a
witchy
white
stuff,
witch?
yeah. A good witch.
Oh, good witch. I don't know what witch is. She could be a
She's
bad
one of them
witch.
that has perpetual BO. Is that a
Horrible
good one?
halitosis.
Is that a good one? I don't know.
Is she the ones that can't go near water? That's why she always smells.
Yes,
Gotcha,
basically.
gotcha.
Yeah,
But
she's
white
does.
witches will dress white. Alicia never dresses in white. So in
Why
dark
would a white
clothes.
witch dress
No,
white?
that's
Is it a
not
racist
how
thing?
it is.
It is now. It has made it racist.
They
I
do.
haven't made it racist.
No,
They also
that's
wear
the
them hoods.
Ku Klux
Dress in
Klan.
white, wear a big hood,
Also fire around them.
burn crosses. Yeah, that's right, Ethan.
Witchcraft.
Right, so witchcraft, 3 no's and a yes.
Demons and possession.
Oh, no.
No.
Yes.
Interesting.
How about you?
What about you?
No. Psychics.
No.
No.
Yes.
Yourself? Don't you keep forgetting
No.
yourself?
The Loch Ness Monster.
No.
No. I don't know actually. Yeah, I'll go
No.
yes. I'll go yes with that. I'll go yes.
How are you feeling about it,
Mixing
John?
it up. I used to love the Loch Ness Monster when I
I
was a kid.
love the
no.
idea of it, but no, for me.
Aliens.
Oh, no.
Yes.
No?
Well, I'm going to go
Yes.
maybe on that one. Maybe.
Yes. Not
Not.
weird little green men.
Yeah, that's where I'm going
I
on that
do
one.
believe that
There is
are
life on
oth-
other
yeah,
planets. Yeah,
life elsewhere, but
Okay,
not,
we can
not
get into
what
that.
we think it is.
we would be very silly to believe that we're the only people.
Bigfoot.
No. Actually, yeah. If I'm going to believe in a lot less, I'll believe in Bigfoot.
Well, you don't have to believe in anything. This isn't like religion. It's not like if you're Catholic, you believe in God, you've also got to believe that Jesus is the Son of God.
I believe there could
Mix
have
and
been
match.
something like that people just thought was.
We'll get into it in a bit. It was a yes or a no for you.
Well, guess what? I'm saying stuff.
Yeah, I don't care.
So you're saying yes?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nah.
What was it?
Bigfoot.
What, Bigfoot Silver? We'll go back onto MMA.
What do you mean
He's-
going
he's
back?
real.
We've never spoken.
He is
about
real,
it.
yeah.
Yeah.
He is real.
Yeah.
And he also has giganticism.
He does, yeah. But Bigfoot, the big hairy gorilla walking thing, no.
I'm going to say no. I think I'm going to say no.
You've been no on everything so far. Haven't you?
Yeah.
No, aliens. I believe
Aliens
in
are-
aliens.
oh,
yeah,
I'm a big believer in aliens. And I suppose the biggest one of all, ghosties.
Yes.
Poltergeist.
I believe in ghosts.
No.
In any way, shape or form?
No. So this is a yes, no. This is a yes,
Okay,
no.
yes,
sort of
no.
thing.
If you can-
No.
It doesn't have to be a yes. No, you can.
No,
Yes.
we're going to discuss it and then I'll bring my points out
What about
then.
you?
Yes.
I'm going to say yes, and we'll come on to
Yeah,
it.
I was going to say, most of mine are no's, but that doesn't mean I don't want them to be real.
Do you want them to be real?
Fuck yeah, who don't want to, like... Who don't
Have a
wanna-
Loch Ness Monster
Yeah,
looking
exactly.
about.
How cool would that be?
Godzilla in Scotland. That'd
But
be
would
well
it be like the family Ness? You
Oh,
know,
that
when
would
they
be
all used to
incredible.
wear
Yeah,
little
little-
hats and
the little
stuff.
bonnets.
Yeah.
Little Scotch bonnets. Right, so we'll go through the first one. What was the first one then?
First one was witchcraft.
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 So
Like,
there was
the
3
pen
no's
ran
and a
You
yes.
wrote that wrong there.
The pen ran out. It doesn't say anything. It says white ear.
White here.
Yeah.
Going back onto that racist thing again, aren't we? Right, so witchcraft.
Yeah.
So you were a no, I was a no, Ethan you were a no, and Rachel was a yes.
Why
So
were you
I do believe Rachel was correct that people do practice it. Do I believe anything comes of it? No.
Okay. So when I say witchcraft, I don't mean that that there isn't a thing called witchcraft. That people don't believe in like Lucky Heather, or there's books on it, or there's like that it is a thing. I believe that it is obviously a thing because there are shops you can go to and you can buy all these things like that. But do I believe that what people
actually
do
happens, yeah.
has a supernatural effect on other people?
Like a little
or
doll you can
themselves?
stab and it
Yeah,
kills
then no,
someone.
I don't believe that.
Well, the thing is, so on the face of it, so witchcraft, when you first say that word, you think of magic. That's exactly that's why when I said I believe in witchcraft, but I don't know if I believe in magic, they're two different things. But what is the difference between, and I know you're probably going to come out with a really good explanation, someone going through, is it CBT, and someone casting a spell? So someone literally does something that then impacts directly on that person's life and everything that happens thereafter in a positive way, or someone sits there and says, if you take these crystals,
Because I
These
don't
things
think
will
I think
happen.
I
Before
think
you answer, I don't think that learning to ride a motorbike has got anything to do with that.
Is it called CBT? What is it? on
Cognitive
top of
brain
that?
therapy.
Yes.
It's
that's
also,
what I'm
you know, the
talking
compulsory
about.
bike training.
Compulsory bike
Yeah.
training.
So, and Scientologists would say that CBT is a form of witchcraft,
Probably.
and
yeah.
all kinds of
But
therapy.
Don't they believe in
Science-
tiny little
but
aliens?
What they do,
Exactly.
what-
Isn't that weird religion?
Yes,
tiny
it
little
is.
aliens.
Yeah, they don't believe in therapy. They don't believe
but what they
in people
do
having
is
any
therapy.
kind of
Yeah.
exactly. But
It
they
is
would
therapy.
say that having counselling is evil, and that therapy is evil, and it's people trying to manipulate your brain and this, that, and the other.
That's exactly what they do.
So they're saying that's witchcraft then.
So basically, yeah.
So they're saying all right.
So witchcraft for me has to have a paranormal element to it.
Yeah.
It has to
No, I'll
have
completely agree.
some sort of
Okay.
paranormal element to it. And I'd say that somebody saying, like, I command you to
Be a dog.
be great for the rest of your life, you're going to have great fortune or whatever it might be, in the same way that if you went to a healer, a Christian healer, and they would go, Jesus compels you, and he makes something weird happen, that they
Yeah.
would feel that. But that isn't anything supernatural. That's just the human brain acting in a certain way because they believe in something wholeheartedly, that if someone was to say something to them, they are. It's like it's a placebo.
Yeah.
It's a placebo effect. So, but CBT isn't a placebo. CBT is retraining the brain to think in a certain way.
Yeah.
So it's a similar sort of thing, but drawn out over a long period. But I don't believe that you could take someone's pubes and a drop of their sweat, put it in a fire with a frog's heart, and make that person fall in love with you.
But you could get some crystals and say to someone, these crystals give off this kind of energy, and that person will carry that crystal with them for the rest of their life and get something positive out of that and get
But that's-
Only if they
positive energy.
believe
That's, that's their own
exactly.
head
Placebo, isn't it?
making all the bad things
Yeah.
not matter and just focusing on the good. So it doesn't actually do anything other than change their
You're
outlook.
thinking it
Yeah.
does.
Yeah.
But that's
As far as I'm concerned, that is.
yeah, and you're right, but that is pretty much what witchcraft is. Like, my understanding of witchcraft is that that's what you do. You burn certain candles, you have certain herbs that you burn, and they're supposed to bring about, you know, nice things or bad things or whatever it is. So my understanding of what witchcraft is now isn't magic, it's stuff coming from nature encouraging certain things in your life, energies and all
Yeah,
that kind
okay.
of thing. I don't know.
See, I suppose that
And that
think
I believe in.
That pretty much what you've said there, for me, encapsulates all of these things, all of these sort of paranormal
Well, that's
things.
it.
I
End of
suppose.
podcast then. I've done it. I win.
Completed it.
Thanks very much.
Completely, mate.
Completed.
No, what I mean, but what I mean is that with all of these things, so for me, with something paranormal, people will always come across and go, oh yeah, but if you don't believe it, it won't ever, whatever. If you don't believe in ghosts, you'll never see one. If you don't believe in Bigfoot, there'll always be another reason. There'll always be another explanation. If you don't believe in witchcraft, it won't have any impact from you. If you don't believe in psychics, if you don't take that journey, then you'll never believe it. It'll never be right. And that's where I find it falls down, because if something is either real or it isn't real.
Yeah.
If someone makes me a cup of tea, I can drink that tea and it's there. Even if I don't want that tea or I hate tea, if they make me a tea and force it down my throat, then it's tea and I drink it. So, same with medicine.
But you mustn't ever force someone to drink a cup of tea.
Even if
especially-
they had tea before,
They might not want tea
they
now.
might not want tea now.
And if they're asleep, do not make them drink tea.
Exactly,
Yeah.
they might not want tea. Exactly.
You might have made them tea the day before, and they
Yeah.
really enjoyed the tea.
Yeah.
But you cannot force them to have tea if they
What
don't
if
want
they
tea.
don't want tea?
I can imagine you being
They don't
not
want
very good
tea.
tea
They
maker.
don't want tea. They don't want tea.
I can
But
see
you're
that.
forcing the tea on them, and eventually they capitulate, and they quite enjoyed the tea because they were like, "Do you know what?
When
I didn't want
the
that,
tea
but I
police
really,
turn
really,
up,
like, really wanted
when
it."
the tea police turn up, they
You're
will
getting
go.
arrested.
Did you say no to the tea? I did numerous times. Yes, indeed. But did you enjoy it? I did enjoy it, but regardless of that, I said no to it, and it was forced upon me. So no to the tea. You will be done for.
You can't enjoy tea
You'd be
when
a
it's
tea
forced
pissed,
on
is
you.
what you'd be.
Oh, some people enjoy tea. Some people enjoy tea when it's been forced upon them.
No, when
I
you
mean,
don't
it's
really,
not
when you
not,
don't
not real
really,
forced, fake forced.
when
I
you
mean, there's
don't
a lot
really
of
want a cup
fantasies
of
about that.
tea,
But if you
it's
don't
very
want tea,
hard to finish a cup of tea that you don't want.
I mean, for a lot of women, it's
You
very
always
hard to finish a
You
cup
always
of
leave
tea.
your tea. I find it an insult.
I mean, you always drink your tea first, don't you?
Always.
Always
Always
finishes
gone.
first.
You wait for yours to go stone cold and then drink it. I don't know what that says about you.
That's right, boy. Oh yeah. It's like necrophilia. Do you want to crack open a cold one?
Oh my god!
Right, so getting off of T slash
Sorry,
rape.
I'm going to mute Jim.
So, like I say, with the
I'm
paranormal,
muting you, Jim.
there has to be something scientifically that's there, whether you believe it or not. It's factually there, and it can't be. Well, there could be other explanations potentially, because there is for lots of things
So
in
there
science.
needs to be a physical proof.
It can't just be down to, well, because you don't believe it, because then it's a case of.
It's the
you're
same as religion then.
Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
yeah.
You're going to believe it because you want
That's
to believe it
paranormal as well,
rather
isn't it,
than.
religion?
Rather
I would
than
put,
Yeah,
I would put that in there.
Yeah, I think
I
it
would
is.
definitely put that in there.
And
I think
a being
religion-
floating around in the sky and casting
Yeah,
spells on
exactly.
people. That's definitely paranormal.
Or a man feeding
An
loads of
absentee-
people from one fish.
Absentee, omnipotent being.
Yeah.
So he can be omnipotent and omnipresent, but he's absentee because he really don't give two fucks about
He's
it.
an amputee.
No,
An amputee god.
no, he's you know what? He's
We
very
don't know what he
diverse.
looks like.
Nice.
Yeah, absolutely.
Where do you
rubbish.
stand on witchcraft?
I just don't believe in it.
No?
I don't believe it has any
Yeah, I don't.
benefits, except psychologically for the people that are interested in it.
Yes.
It has benefits
Again,
for
a bit
them.
like a religion,
Yeah,
I suppose.
absolutely,
But no supernatural.
no, none whatsoever. I mean, with most of the things we've talked about there, no,
Yeah.
I don't think.
Well, that's it. That's Jim gone.
Witchcraft.
No, I'm quite happy to talk about them. Actually,
I
the only
don't.
thing on there is probably the aliens, which I'd be quite happy to talk
We'll
about.
get onto
We'll
that.
get
I
to
think we'll
that.
perhaps leave the big two till the end.
What about you then, Ethan? You're a big no on the witchcraft.
No, yeah, I don't really believe in it. I don't know why. Just don't.
Not for you.
No.
No, not bothered that your sister's a witch.
No.
No.
She doesn't wash. That's her thing. That's fine. She won't wash till Tibet is free. So
Who's Tibet? Is that the thing she's keeping in the cage?
basically,
Is that a little slave she's keeping in the
little
cage?
slave monkey with wings.
Yeah. she better lucky Heather around it.
No Tibet, no.
Get back to bed, Tibet.
So I suppose ghosts, it's similar to ghosts and things like that. But I put demons and possession because you can't. It doesn't seem like you can be possessed by something that's not a demon. I mean, I'm not a
Well, no.
massive thing on demonology, but
You can get possessed by the Holy Spirit, which is what a load of evangelists...
So when we say possession, we
Very
talk
true.
about like when people have like
yeah,
ghost
people get
visits them,
possessed. No, when
You-
people
you
get
think more
possessed,
exorcist.
probed by aliens.
They're talking
Actually
tongues
into them
things
and
like that. Yes,
they're not. You like that weird video that little girl that starts talking like a 50-year-old man. Have you seen
Yeah.
that?
Yes,
Yeah.
that's the
Exactly
Enfield
that,
Poltergeist.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is,
That's
yeah.
probably what you've seen there, which we'll get onto because that's one of my favourites.
Love that, yeah. But do I believe in it? No.
So, what do you think it would? What do you think when people are possessed?
Schizophrenia.
Some sort of mental.
Mental illness.
But they're just
a lot of
really
time.
good at impressions.
No, you don't have to be. But hang on, she's just doing an old man voice. It's not impersonating anyone in particular.
Yeah, I know, but even as a young little girl, you're going to be struggling to do a 50-year-old man's
Convincing
voice.
old man.
It is a convincing old man, but you can do lots of different voices.
Do a little girl.
He's always on the nonce thing, isn't he?
Always.
on the nonce
Do you
thing.
believe in nonsense?
Do you believe in nonce?
Not actually do
Oh,
one.
fuck's sake, Ethan. Turn it in. Change the record.
Just be a lucky one, not a touchy one.
I'm not even going to be a lucky one. And I'm definitely not going to be a touchy one.
Don't know, you wear
But no,
glasses
I
a
mean,
lot.
you know, I just don't believe
But
it.
do a little girl's voice
I
then.
don't really want to.
Just try.
I don't
A
want
little
to.
boy's.
No. I don't
An
want to.
80-year-old man.
No. Stop trying to get me to do things.
Yeah, because he can't. Because it's hard.
Okay then.
That's it. That's solved.
Ethan, you gave us too much information there. It might be hard. Put it away and play with it on your own time.
Ray,
God. What?
demons and possession.
Not in the sense that, like The Exorcist, no.
No.
I used to, but that's because I was raised in a Catholic household.
And that's a very interesting point again, because if you've seen like The Exorcism of Emily Rose,
Yeah, great film.
Oh, horrible.
very horrible film, but the true story is obviously even worse because
Yeah.
they like her parents and the priest that administered the exorcism or the rites of the exorcism over and over were both all jailed
Yeah, I was going to
for
say
abuse.
they were all abusers, weren't they?
Because obviously she grew up in a strictly Christian, Catholic, whatever it was, household.
Christian.
I think wasn't she raped or
Yeah, and they
or she
blamed
had sex
her
when she was
for
young,
it. Yeah,
something
they-
like that. So
and that was what the devil was they were casting out.
that was her. So they convinced her that she was possessed
Yeah.
to the point where it sent her mad.
They starved her.
They made her genuflect like 500-600 times a day, so she'd fall to her knees, and her knees were just bloody and shot and to bits.
Awful.
She would talk in tongues and all sorts. It's all
But that's
that's
because
what I
she was
mean. I think-
delirious.
yeah,
All of
probably.
that, it's horrible to say, is probably a mental illness.
Yeah.
Whether it be schizophrenia or something like that. So people that like have lots of different personalities
Yeah.
or voices in their head.
There
Then
is an
that's what it
element
is.
as well of what's the word where can't think what it is now. Where like adverts do it to you.
Subliminal messaging.
Subliminal
messaging.
messaging, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Do you think they created that schizophrenia in her then?
well, the
Oh,
Emily
right,
Rose
no.
definitely.
Whoa.
I don't know. She basically it's a bit like it's like what they do to people or used to do to people in like Guantanamo Bay and places like that. It's
So if
literally like
you'd done
it's-
something that was wrong, that let's say your whole entire family and your upbringing told you was wrong, and then you were put on the spot for doing that one thing, and then you were given an out. They would say, but it's not your fault because of this.
Because of this demon.
And you were then to go, God, maybe it is then. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's because of this thing. It is. It's definitely this. Get the priest in. And the priest, like in certain households, like if you grew up in like Ireland and stuff like that, the priest coming into your house was sacrilege. It's like he is like the ultimate.
He's basically God.
That's God's embodiment.
He's God's
on earth.
voice, yeah.
Yeah. So for then somebody with that authority to tell you that you are possessed and to tell you to do these things. Yeah, I think, and that's the saddest thing. I think when those sort of things are used in that way, I think that's quite sad because it's quite abusive, really abusive.
And there is I think there's some kind of like formula where I think if you say something enough times, it becomes a truth. I can't remember what it must have been in a training thing that I was on, but basically you can literally implant a memory into someone's head if you just repeat it enough times.
Like
Inception?
Like in that episode in This Country where he's on about Nugget and he's telling her why his name's Nugget. And then
He went for a big lion face.
lion face who doesn't know what's real and what's fake.
Well, that's it. I mean, you can lie to yourself, and then
and that be a reality
and
after a
that
while.
eventually will become a reality.
Yeah,
That's it.
of course it is.
So
That's why they said that
if
eyewitness accounts
if
are-
you're a bit broken, or
Oh,
if you
shit.
come from a background where you're encouraged to only listen to what people tell you, and you're not encouraged to think for yourself or look outside of what it is people are telling you, then it's very easy for them to break you down and convince you of whatever
But
it
yeah,
is
I
they
think-
think you're doing.
I think mostly all of that sort of stuff is some sort of mental illness or you know.
Interesting. Psychics, similar, I suppose.
No,
You class that with witchcraft as well.
No,
right?
I'd
Does
say
anybody
Is that
know
sort of the same
anyone
with, like-
who has any sort of,
Apart from me always knowing what's going on.
in what respect? Do you
I
know?
remember when you said to Alice that time, just your mum's always right. So if she says she knows something, she knows it.
Is that a stretch on like intuition? Then is that?
Yeah, that's all
So
psychic
people would
is.
say, oh, that people have an intuition. They can feel that something's not quite right, or something's off there. Something's not. So
That's
would
just
a
you
psy-
knowing someone so
But
well.
with a
though, I
psychic
think, as
ability,
well.
if you say you felt you were the same, but you felt more in the same way that I don't know. Let's say I can run quite quickly, but I can't run as fast as Usain
Yeah.
Bolt. So if somebody can feel empathy and feel like something's not quite right, what if they have even more?
Well,
their levels of that are higher?
see, I don't think you've got. When you say intuition, it's not like a mystical thing. If I was to pop round your house and I looked sad, you would notice I look sad because you can see my face, my body language,
Yeah, I wouldn't call
tone
it
of my voice.
psychic.
I wouldn't say it's psychic, and I wouldn't say that's what your intuition is. Is you notice all of those
That's
little
just reading
expressions on the
facial
face
expressions
and
knowing,
body
yeah.
language and tone of voice and things like that. It doesn't make someone a psychic just because they can do that with people that they don't know. Because
So you pick up on, say, like micro things. That, let's say you were trying to put a brave face on.
yeah,
Like, would I be able to pick up on like micro things?
Probably,
that
yeah.
weren't quite
Especially
right?
with more
you know
people that you
when
know
someone
better.
smiles but they don't smile with their eyes,
like Ethan
you can tell.
in photos.
Yeah,
Well, yeah, you can.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
You can
it
tell.
was a running joke with Ethan when he was growing
and
up.
that's even more prevalent now when you're talking to people and they've got a mask on.
Yeah.
You can tell if they're smiling or not, and you can't see their mouth. That's because you can see
I think
in
that's
their
the same
face.
with calls as well. Like you can, when
You
you're
can-
on the phone, to someone,
absolutely.
you can definitely hear when someone's smiling or
Oh,
if
we
they're
used to
not.
get,
Absolutely you
when,
can, yeah,
when we used to work in the call centre, they always used to say to you, didn't they, stand up when
Stand
you're
up,
going to close the
'cause it
sale
opens your
because it
diaphragm.
gives you that confidence.
Yeah.
And
it's
it
like,
opens your diaphragm, and
yeah,
you sound a lot more confident.
and you can be
Yeah.
more animated. But that's what Darren Brown does. Is he reads the micro
He reads
people,
things
yeah,
with
the
you.
micro
And
expressions,
the thing
yeah.
is, I think that is what psychics are. I don't think they genuinely read people's minds. I think they
What
read
with their
people.
high hand palms and stuff like that. I think
That's
what-
palm
Oh,
instance.
that's just a
Yeah.
little
So
bit.
you-
Yeah, so but you psychics I would then put in the same place as mediums as well. They can talk to them.
Yes.
And it's just all bollocks
So-
because
They take
I mean,
advantage of being able to read people.
I can't really remember who it was, but there was a comedian that did a bit on it, and he's like, so there's these people in the afterlife, and they can speak to someone who can then pass their messages on, but they're just floating past going, their name starts with a K.
Yeah.
Rather than going, Karen, my daughter over there.
Yeah.
Can you tell her
Yeah.
I've left a £50 note under the fridge, but no, her name starts with a K.
You say that, but then we have a friend, don't we, that can
Yeah.
like
So
sort of he has dreams.
it's weird when you talk.
Loads of
to
people have dreams.
but it's
No, but his dreams are like very specific on someone
He
he's never
doesn't
met
just
before,
get
and he
dreams.
finds something out about their family that he didn't know, that he's never met them before.
Yeah.
Well, you explain it better, because
This is it. I suppose when you talk to somebody, so we've got a family friend who is not what you would consider to be the archetypal
Psychic
medium.
It's not like psychic.
It's just
stuff.
No, is a middle-aged
builder bloke.
normal guy, normal bloke, dead normal, down to earth.
He may not appreciate you calling him middle aged. Even
Get over it, Matt. But he would find it. He would have these weird things happen to him, or feelings, or like really strong feelings in certain places, in certain rooms. And off his own back, he decided to go to somewhere, which I think was in Leicestershire somewhere, like a spiritualist kind of like church, I suppose you'd call it. And he started to like hone the ability almost.
Are you eating something? Sounds
A
like
bit
you're
of
eating
paper.
something.
I am eating a little bit of paper. I'm just chewing it.
Disgusting, honestly.
No, I'm trying to help it. Sorry.
So you can hear that through your voice.
Can you?
Yeah.
You can help
Did you?
it.
Was it intonation in my voice?
Yeah,
I'm chewing
because
something?
It's the way you like, you sound like you're chewing.
You can help it.
Sorry.
Spit it out.
Shut up.
Yeah, he'd get like dreams, wouldn't he, of people he's never met before, and
It wasn't always just dreams. Sometimes it was like waking things, and he'd get.
or he'd go into a house and
He
feel
would.
something really weird.
He'd get that in houses and things like that. Like he would be able to like feel weird things that have happened in people's houses, and he would get weird messages for people that he'd never met before, and he would deliver these, and they would be like you're saying, weird cryptic messages. I remember one that he was saying about some people that he just happened to be talking to in a bar on holiday, and he went back to his room, and I'm probably butchering this story, and he came back to see them again a day later or something. He goes, and he was something on his mind. He said, I have to tell you this. He says, but there's somebody this is going to sound really weird, but I just have to. And he says he has these compulsions. He has to be able to get this off his chest. And he said to this girl, somebody came to me, someone that you'd lost very, very close, and they said, get rid of the sovereign. Just sell it. Sell my sovereign. Get rid of it. And she was like, that's really weird. Said, my dad died like a couple of months back or whatever. And he said, I can't tell you any more than that. That's just what I'm getting, whatever it was. And he was linked in with it, and she said she's got no idea what it means, spoke to her brother, no idea what it means. And she hooked up with him on Facebook or whatever, and then a couple of months later they were going through all of his probate and stuff like that, and he had an old sovereign jag. He had an old jag that they'd always, a really old one that they always wanted to keep in the family. And as soon as they saw like the MOT certificate, whatever it was, and they saw the word sovereign, she was like, shit, this is old jag. So they sold it. I mean, you can put two and two together and say it could have been anything.
I think the one weird one was when he went, we were in Poland and we went to Auschwitz. He said he had a weird dream, didn't he, of a woman coming up to him saying, look out for me or something.
Yeah.
So he looked out for her the whole time, and then
got nothing,
and then he had a photo and went back, and apparently in the photo you can see the woman that was in his dream in the background.
I've not seen the photo, but he says, and that was another weird thing. We went to Auschwitz and he said, I got nothing in Auschwitz, nothing.
Yeah, I don't believe in any of it.
I know, this is it.
But when he tells you,
hard
you
when he
don't
tells
know,
you,
yeah.
and that's just one. He'll tell me 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 stories,
Yeah.
and I'm just.
You can't really make something like that.
can you?
Well, you can.
I don't know,
that's the issue, but whether he would.
Would you?
Or
Yeah.
whether it is
Or whether he believes it
whether it's an
himself,
interpretation of a dream,
Yeah.
or
The other
who
thing
knows
is as
what
well,
it might be.
it's
But-
like if he believes it,
He's
then,
not doing anyone any harm.
Yeah, exactly. That's the difference.
And maybe if
isn't
he
it?
believes it, he thinks that's what's happening as well.
Maybe, but what he did say was genuinely that you had to exercise it like a muscle. He said, he would do these almost like a psychic seminar type thing, and you would sit with somebody and you do readings with each other. You just say stuff, and you just and you try to hone this skill to the point where you were getting quite. And he said he was getting like quite accurate with people, and again, so many stories, but yeah, but weird, just because of the sort of person that I know he is, and he's quite a genuine guy, and
Yeah,
he's not
you're right,
an airy
like you
fairy.
say,
He wouldn't be one of
or
them
anything
people to
like
make
that.
something like that.
No,
would he?
he's.
Well, I've
It's
got to deal with
interesting.
my kids because I don't believe in psychics and mediums and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I've said to them, when I die,
Yeah.
by all means, try and get in contact with me through a psychic and medium.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not going to be one of these that just floats past and says like some random thing that's really cryptic. I'm going to say one word. No, I'm going to say one word, and they know what that word is.
Right.
And if the medium psychic person,
Oh, I like it, like a code.
yeah,
That's a good idea.
and if they say that, then it's me.
I
They're
like it.
It's
talking-
real.
then it's real,
Ooh.
and by all means, keep spending your money and chat to me if you want to, or just hang up sort of thing.
Nice.
But, so there's one word that I'm going to say to them.
That's
Okay,
clever.
don't give it away.
I'm not going to tell you.
There might be
No,
psychics
I'm
listening
not
to
going to
this.
tell.
Put it in your will.
No, because then the people that read.
Oh,
my will
yeah.
know. They know what it is. I check in with them every now and then. They still know.
What's the
Good.
word?
Yeah. What's the word? I mean, Annie forgot it, but Emily remembered, so that was nice.
Is it
So-
salamander?
No, that would be really weird.
It's got to be like
Exactly.
something weird like AIDS.
Why is that?
He's obsessed with AIDS and nonsense.
You are.
I'm not being- you literally just whispered.
AIDS when
That
you
wasn't
said
me, that
the
was
word.
you.
That wasn't me.
I
Your
believe that was
microphone's
you.
picking that up.
No, that was you
I saw the
whispering
lines go up.
AIDS.
Unfortunately, that's just the way he exhales now. All he says is,
What about nonsense?
Now stop. We all believe in nonsense. Let's move on to the next one. The Loch Ness Monster.
I would love. the
See,
Loch-
I
It's
think
such
it
a
would be
brilliant story.
it
isn't
is
It's
a-
one of the,
yeah.
it's one of
It
the
is
best
the most
fables.
harmless
I don't think it's real
thing in
now,
the
but I think
world.
it could have been.
for a
Like an
paranormal
old
Normal
thing.
thing,
dinosaur that was still around.
For a paranormal thing that's out there, some folk tale, it's so harmless, and it's done so much for that community around there.
Yeah.
But it doesn't hurt anyone.
No.
They can believe in it. They don't have to.
Yeah.
Who doesn't want to
People want-
teat out with a Loch Ness Monster?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Who doesn't want to go to Loch Ness and
It
try and
could have
spot
generally
Nessie?
been
But to
real.
be fair, when we went to
Well-
Loch Ness, all of us definitely tried to see it.
Of course
yeah.
we
Definitely
did. Yeah.
tried
She's
to
like,
see
it's
it.
going to be me.
Like,
It's going to be
yeah.
me. I'm going to be the one.
But I mean, I'm very much on the scientific side, and I do base most of my things on the scientific information regarding all of this. But I really wish that they hadn't have put boats up and down the loch
With cameras.
with cameras and with sonar and all of that sort of stuff to try and find Nessa, because once it's been proved that it's not there,
Yeah.
it kind of ruins it. And that one,
But
it
they do
doesn't
say
fall,
that
you know.
it's so deep. It's one of the deepest lakes in the world.
But they got down to the bottom.
Yeah, and it's one of the murkiest as well. So,
Yeah, but with
just saying,
with the sonar, you'd be able to pick it up.
not if it was like getting dead flat to the ground like
Holding
that,
its
sonar,
breath.
holding its breath, or hiding under a big log.
I mean, it must
Or
be.
if it knew where the boat was, I'm going to be all the way down here when they
I'm just
get
gonna,
there.
I'm just gonna be on the front all the way.
Yeah.
But it could be real, though, and it could be, for all we know, it's like just not.
Well, one of the
existing
origins of the
anymore.
story is that there was a circus in town many, many moons ago, in the 1800s or whatever it was. A circus in town, and someone allowed, or one of the elephants or something was washing in the water, and somebody from a distance saw the elephant in the water
Okay, yeah.
Um,
That sounds.
and assumed that there was something,
was a
weird
monster.
creature.
Yeah.
It would look like a monster,
Yeah.
wouldn't it, with its trunk and stuff. So, and that born potentially or added to the mythology that there was. And again, there's always a mythology with large bodies of water, isn't there? I think that if you go to most lakes,
Yeah.
there's
And
going to be
also,
some
it's in
native
Scotland,
history there.
so whoever
to-
it was who saw them was obviously pissed on whiskey.
Very drunk, very
Definitely
very
drunk.
drunk. Not back then,
Yeah,
not
but-
Buckfast. No, it'd have been some like white
Oh
lightning.
yeah,
Well, I think it could have been
absolutely
like,
bladdered.
if it was real, it would have been like some sort of like old dinosaur or something. For all we know, there could be bones there of a Loch Ness monster. You don't know. It might just not be here anymore, or it swam off.
You still
I mean,
on your phone. Put your phone
Recorded time.
Use
I
it
don't
for
know.
googling and stuff.
away. Googling the Loch Ness monster.
Yeah.
I mean, you say an old dinosaur. I mean, I don't think.
well, alligators are classed as dinosaurs.
Yeah,
aren't
but
They are.
something that big. I mean,
They are, but I think didn't most things, again going back to the science, didn't most big things die out when comet hit, sky got blocked out, so anything over a certain size just couldn't survive, which is why everything started off unless they do say unless it was water based, but then I don't know.
Everyone's interpretation of it seems to
Megalodons
be
would still be
dinosaur
around,
looking.
etc.
yeah. Well,
Well, the thing
megalodons
is-
were not.
Yes, of course. Everybody, if it's a plesiosaur, isn't it? Most people assume that it's like a.
But they're
Yeah,
always
like
discovering
Pleurodon
new
type thing.
things in the ocean.
They are.
Water
yeah.
always has new stuff to discover. So it could just be that it is something that hasn't been given a name yet because they haven't actually, whatever it is,
Well,
it's hiding.
They also don't know that if there's actually like underwater things to get out into the sea, the North Sea, because it does. The Loch Ness is massively long and thin,
bury into
and
the
it just
bed.
We've been on the canal that leads out into the sea.
Yeah.
So who's to say that it wasn't there at one point and
and it's gone
fucked off.
somewhere else.
But, I mean,
Been a
but
blue
do we-
whale.
recorded time back. How long have we been? How long has this been going on? The Loch Ness.
a long time.
I'll have a look.
But how long are we talking?
It's mentioned in the Bible, apparently. Genuinely is. Yeah,
Oh,
genuinely. Somebody tries. I can't remember.
So
who
when
it is.
Moses,
somebody is crossing in a boat and a large monster comes out.
who was it that
Kraken.
Who was it
Yeah,
that split the
basically.
seas? Was it Moses?
Moses split the Red Sea. Yeah.
Didn't he see him then? No.
He didn't. No,
No.
I don't think he did.
It was surfing.
Yeah, he was just on one side of
The
it.
earliest record sighting of the monster was on the 22nd of August, 565 AD.
565
Wow.
What do they say they saw?
When it was written that a type of sea creature had attempted to gulp down a local farmer before being banished back into the water by Saint Columba, the man
Oh.
responsible for introducing Christianity to Scotland.
There we go. We've got to believe it then. Yeah.
Got to believe
He
it.
beat a demon. It's like
Get away! Get away!
See,
Get
this
back
is
in
the
there, you
problem.
George and the
bastard!
Dragon, isn't
This
it?
is
Right.
the problem
They all
with
have to
these
fight
stories.
mystical,
Yeah, it's,
mystical
it's
creatures to
always linked
prove
to
their
religion,
sainthood.
and
Yeah.
that's what gets everyone going. Oh my God! Yeah, we
He
must
did it.
believe in it.
Rather than
Yeah.
just getting
But I'd
eaten.
love it to be real, but I just don't think it is.
What's
Same with
the story of George and the Dragon? Because I've never actually heard it. I don't think. Did he kill a dragon?
You were about to say if you never watched the cartoon, weren't you?
I thought it was a film, but I've got the wrong thing.
No, you're thinking of George's dragon.
Yeah, I'm thinking George.
No, that's not the
That's a
same
wicked
thing.
film.
It was something to do with the Crusades, wasn't it? But I'm sure
What,
he
he
would...
rode in on a dragon?
No, he
No,
was
he-
supposed to have vanquished the
he
dragon. But I'm
vanquished the
supposed,
dragon
also
from a
supposed to
cave.
believe that he was Palestinian
It's a bit
as
like
well.
it's a bit like Smaug.
A bit like Jesus.
Desolation of Smaug.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
How weird is that?
Yeah,
That's like
what it is.
that's a thing that
mythology.
is
isn't it?
still.
Dragons
we
is
know
also
it
a
could
thing
have
that's
happened.
thinking now, isn't it? There's a
Well,
big
I'd love to
conspiracy
believe
theory
in
that dragons
dragons.
were real.
We
I'd
never know.
love to. Yeah,
Love
I'd
to
love that.
believe.
Dragons could have been
Dragons.
just been slayed by all the humans.
But
no
we haven't-
bones to show.
We
that
haven't found
any
any bones of them yet.
Well,
No.
who knows?
Just saying that, they've found a lot of stuff with giants, haven't they now? Like footprints and
Leads us on to our next one.
yeah,
Have
Bigfoot.
they?
Bigfoot. But like, yeah, I've seen something recently about giants.
Where did you see it?
YouTube is a podcast actually. I can't remember what podcast, but he was talking about like giants, and he's got like photos with massive footprints that no one can explain and stuff. And there's like hieroglyphics, Egyptian hieroglyphics of like giants and stuff like
Was
that.
it in Egypt?
Huh?
Was it-
No, not just the footprints were in Egypt, but all the hieroglyphics were.
Oh.
Mm.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot that, again, this probably we were talking about books in the last podcast. Lee, there's a book that I've read. Without going into too much detail, if you're a big fan of like Joe Rogan Experience things, you've probably heard of Graham Hancock.
Oh
who,
yeah, he was the
wrote
Bigfoot
Fingerprints
hunter.
of the Gods. No, he wrote a book about. Well, he's big on ancient civilizations as well as psychedelic drugs, ancient civilizations,
Oh, okay, that fella.
and believes that there was an ancient civilization that was massively advanced and that predates like what we consider to be the oldest, like your Aztecs
Mayans,
and your Egyptians and things. They're about 5,000 BC. Well, these are going back to like 12,000 BC. In Göbekli Tepe in Turkey, where they have unearthed these things that are being carbon dated to around 12,000 years old,
Okay.
and they are like engineered blocks and carvings and all sorts of things. And they reckon that there was an ancient, or his theory was there's an ancient civilization of people that were going around teaching people how to farm, how to raise livestock, because these same images appear all over the world in these
Yeah.
really old dug up
Oh, right.
civilizations, and that again a cataclysmic flood wiped them out. And there's evidence of a cataclysmic flood happening that they found evidence for up in North America, huge massive glaciers. Again, they think it was a comet that caused massive heat rise, which melted ice caps and things, which caused global flooding. And the global flood appears in most mythologies.
Yeah,
Um,
and religions.
yeah,
yeah.
most religious and mythology.
But the
so they
weird
do
thing
believe
is,
that there was...
religions rely on a complete lack of any kind of knowledge or understanding, and just blindly
Evidence-based.
following.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's nothing
that's
evidence based.
so.
Well,
That's
that's
why no one would want to talk about the fact that there would have been this other civilization
Is there Bigfoot
way
stone?
before.
Bigfoot's Sasquatch Yeti.
No.
I'm
Whatever you
going
wanna
to
call
go with no again because
Just a bear.
With the Loch Ness monster, I
Bears.
think there's more chance that that's real because the ocean and bodies of water
Could have just been a really hairy man.
are they're less
Massive dude.
explored.
Yeah.
Whereas
Big butch
on
man.
land, we've explored a lot of stuff. There's
Yeah.
more unknown things in water than there is on land.
They're always
Yeah.
exploring new things, aren't they, in the sea? Because you can never get that deep down.
It's just too big,
Yeah,
yeah.
the
Yeah.
Mariana Trench is what? How many miles down? It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
You know, but on land, yes, there's lots of rainforests and stuff that we haven't seen all living creatures in,
Yeah.
and obviously they're discovering new insects all the time. But massive mammals, I would have thought would have been, you know,
So we
catalogued
think
by now.
bear.
I don't know. Someone could have seen an ape. You know,
Yeah, there are some
Yeah.
big monkeys that people, big spider monkeys and things
And
that
they
people
are
have
known to
seen
be
to have
more
been.
human-like, aren't they? Like,
Yeah.
you know, some gorillas walk on the back legs.
Yeah.
Could it have been that there was something around that eventually died off or got hunted to extinction and that caused a myth? Or
Well, that could be it because
Again, when does it go back to?
Well, that's the photo
Well,
of it. and It
another
looks
reason
very much
why-
like a gorilla.
That
doesn't
one's
it?
hilarious.
that is, but that so
That's
it
like
is
that.
showing as a picture of the
classic
famous
one is-
footage.
Yeah,
of
where it walks
Summit
past.
Johnson, and that again that got debunked.
Yeah,
not
that was a
long
hoax.
ago.
That was a
was
hoax.
a guy in
because
a
it was a bloke
suit,
in a
yeah.
guy in a suit as he walks past, swinging his arms,
Yeah.
then looks at the camera and carries on.
But
Yeah.
I mean, that was the quintessential
Yeah,
footage.
that's
of,
the
of Bigfoot,
evidence.
wasn't it?
Sorry, Rachel, what were you saying?
No, I was just going to say that your point about things on land, we struggle to discover everything in the sea because the sea is so big, but there isn't a lot of the earth that man hasn't messed with in some way.
Yeah.
The natural habitat of things and this that, and
True.
the
I
other.
mean, there
so
are
it
still
would be
there's still
difficult.
some areas.
There's
You get to-
pockets,
you
yeah.
get- you get to places where it was like in Alaska. There are places where probably a human has never stepped foot. The taiga forest in Russia.
But we might not step foot there, but we've probably had drones and satellites
I
going
was going
over
to
the
say,
top of
in
that.
some way,
yeah,
we would have
potentially.
tried to have.
But we're
looked
not
at
talking
what's
about
there.
those places. We're talking about, well, where's
Yeah,
all these
these
sightings
are
are
always
in America.
places where the
Yeah,
habitat
Yeah, for
people
Bigfoot
have
this is not.
Yeah.
inhabit
Texas, isn't
these
it?
places.
Well,
weren't
No,
it?
it's usually up north. It's usually in like
Canada
the
or
Rocky
somewhere,
Mountains
isn't
and
it?
places
Yeah.
like
I mean,
that.
they're not
Minnesota.
undiscovered places. You know,
No.
people. Well, the amount of people that go on the Bigfoot hunts and stuff like that, and they go out and set motion cameras up, and,
Canada.
and
Yeah.
all
Canadians.
of these sort of things.
So you would have.
They would have found him by now.
That's what I was going to say. You
Yeah.
would have thought that
Or
unless
found
he's a
some
supernatural
physical
being. There's
proof.
there's this theory that he is some sort of supernatural being that can move in and out of dimensions. Do we
Maybe.
believe in multiple dimensions?
I don't know.
Scientifically, I would like to think there would be
Can't see
multiple
why it wouldn't
dimensions.
be. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, there's loads of science
That
to
guy,
show
that guy
that.
went on Joe Rogan recently
completely-
talking about multiple dimensions and black holes and
I can't remember his name.
like-
But yes,
Was he the guy that did the? Excuse me. Was he the guy that advised on that film with Matthew McConaughey?
Oh, Interstellar.
Interstellar.
Yes.
He has been on. Yeah.
Was
yeah.
that him?
It wasn't.
Was
That
it-
wasn't him.
scientist, isn't he? He's on Big Bang Theory as well.
So that was
Yeah,
based on
he's
real
a
science.
he's a black
wasn't it?
hole expert.
Yeah, he's the one that got rid of Pluto, wasn't it? Or
Oh no, that's Neil deGrasse
That's Neil
Tyson.
deGrasse
yeah, that's the
Tyson.
one
Oh,
I'm
is that who
on
you're talking
yeah,
about?
he was
Oh,
on Joe
okay.
Rogan
He
talking
didn't.
about
He didn't get rid of it.
different. No, but he
Classified it.
yeah.
Only,
He
only
class it as a planet.
Just shot
anymore.
Pluto out of the universe.
looking at the sky night, just flicks it. Get lost.
Yeah,
Well, you
don't
probably
need that
couldn't
anymore.
But
Get
yeah,
lost, wank up.
because he was on about some. I read on, looked on the Joe Rogan show how like if it was, we'd have different dimensions. It'd look a lot like Monsters Inc. How you could just get a door and open it and walk through, and it would be like.
Yeah.
He said that is how it would look like if it was real.
If you want to go on YouTube and
If
just
you had
type
to
in
wait.
multiple dimensions, there is a young lad that does a drawing of how you would get more dimensions. It's really quite interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's stuff that is beyond my kin. I'm afraid. I'm not like. Again, it needs to be in layman's terms for me to understand it.
Oh,
But I know the brightest minds in the world do believe that it's more than a possibility. That it's more like a likelihood.
one of my Facebook statuses came up not so long back, and it was after watching years of The Big Bang Theory and you know trying to follow a lot of the stuff in there, which is a comedy show, but obviously it's based on real science.
Yeah.
I then watched something, or no, I read a book, and it was Stephen Hawking's book.
Brief History of Time.
Yeah.
Aha, how far? This is brilliant. Okay.
And
how far
I
did you
did
get?
not get very far in that book because
I'm so
I
glad you
understood.
said that.
Fuck all.
I got through the first chapter was like, and it was brilliant.
It was an
I read
introduction,
the,
yeah.
I read the first, the second chapter. I read the first about 10 pages, 6 or 7 times.
Yeah.
And had to put it down.
Easily, yeah.
Had to put it down.
Yeah.
And this is supposed to be a layman's.
Well, he did another one that was a layman's,
Oh,
which was
okay.
like a very brief history of time. But the brief history was for like normal people.
Normal people, yeah.
And then the other one was for
no.
subnormal, i.e.
Yeah.
me.
I mean, as long as he doesn't read it, I wouldn't mind necessarily doing the audiobook. I think if there was an audiobook of it...
It's because he's so pretentious using that American accent, isn't
I
it?
know.
Of course he's going to read it.
I know.
Have someone else reading his audiobook.
They just
Well,
get a
you can-
computer
you
to
can't
do it
now
now,
'cause
wouldn't
he's
they?
But people are
obviously
just
not
so...
around.
It's like they're just so intelligent. I suppose this is a bit like the
Well, they say his brain kept him alive, didn't they? Really?
Science versus Religion episode in...
Well, it did because he invented everything that physically kept him
Yeah.
alive.
I don't know if did he
Not the
invent
wheel. No, he
technology?
didn't invent the chair, right? That was already invented,
But
wasn't
yeah,
it?
that, I mean, he just goes to show, doesn't it? He was living in another world in his mind. But Science versus Religion in Always Sunny in Philadelphia, when they have that episode.
Yeah.
That's a great episode. And I suppose what Mac's point is that there's no evidence for religion. You just have to take it at face value. As that's what faith is. For people like us, that's exactly what you have to do to an extent with some of these theories, these scientific theories, because there's no way in God's green earth that I can decipher the maths, or it is literally like looking at hieroglyphs.
Yeah.
It's like looking at foreign language.
But you can learn to.
That's very true. If you're bright enough, you could learn.
No,
it,
not
and
even if you're
people
bright
still
enough.
do.
You could just learn. So if there was one thing, so say flat Earth, you could disprove that yourself. That is really easy to disprove. All you need to do is get a large body of water over 3 miles long and just watch a ship. You should be able to watch it move and move and move
until it disappears over the horizon.
Until it disappears over the horizon. Now, if it's flat Earth, you should be able to just watch that. If you've got a powerful enough telescope, you'll be able to watch it. There was a really good debunking of a flat Earth of a bloke in a helicopter.
Yeah.
He took off from one side, and he was with a flat earther and a normal person sitting on one side of the shore. They flew off, and they said, "Right, we're going to go and land. Let us know when you think we're landing."
Yeah.
And they said, "Okay." So they started to descend about 3 miles away, and they were watching them through binoculars. And right, you're about to hit the floor, and they did a reading of how far off the floor they were, and they were like a long way from the actual floor. They went, "No, we're going to land now," and you could see them through the telescope. And they disappeared, and they still hadn't landed. And the flat earther was still like, "Nope." Like you,
well, again, it's religion.
Physically seen that with your own
Mount
eyes.
Everest, didn't he? And took a photo, and you could literally see the curve.
Almost see the curve.
Yeah.
Through
Yeah.
the
And it's like you've literally seen that with your own eyes. What more proof do you need? But any science experiment within reason, for lots of different things, you can learn the maths, you can learn the scientific equations, and you can prove it.
That's I think there's a
you can't prove God.
The science versus religion thing. I know Ricky Gervais has said a lot of things on this, but there's one thing that he was on a talk show. It might have been like a Conan O'Brien type thing, and there's a clip of him saying quite a few things, but this was quite definitive. And he said, "You don't believe in."
There's 400 gods.
No, it wasn't that one. He said, "You don't believe in religion." And he says, "No," and he says, "Well, how do you explain blah blah blah?" He said, "What science? What if you?" He says, "How do you think it? How do you reconcile it in your brain?" And he was just, because I think whoever was interviewing him was quite religious. He says, "Well, put it this way." He said, "If everything got wiped out, if all of knowledge got wiped out,"
oh yes, yeah, I've seen that.
He said, "In 1,000 years' time, all of those science books would have been rewritten again."
Yeah,
because they're real. They're based on people that have over hundreds of years have slowly gained an understanding of how things are working and how things work. And that's just goes to prove just what you said.
Yeah.
I mean, I couldn't. Yes, to an extent, we could do small experiments ourselves, but to understand those huge questions, black holes and things like that, you can teach that math to somebody who's bright enough to understand it.
Yeah.
And they'll be able to understand it and lead on from it. If you can do that and somebody can get, "Oh, I understand that, but if you thought about it in this way," and do different maths which shows and proves, that's real. That's as real as it can get, I think, unless you can make an experiment to prove something.
Yeah.
Whereas with religion, you can't. It would just vanish.
Yeah, and it's a difficult one, isn't it? Because that is the whole point of religion. People who are very religious will say, "Well, that is the point. It's like you don't need to prove it to me because I just believe it." And it's like, well, that's fine, except when that religion is forcing you to live a certain way. Well, if like at the moment, the situation we're in, we're being told to do things and people are refusing to do it because they can't see COVID. They don't believe it's happening, so they're like, well, and it's apparently an infringement on our human rights or whatever it is.
not wearing a mask.
So it's like, But you don't see the church as an infringement on your human rights when they tell you not to use contraception, that you shouldn't
can't
have
get rid of
sex
rape
out
babies.
of marriage, that you can't have an abortion regardless of how you came to be pregnant in the first place, and if you are, you're cast out from your family, and so that's not an infringement on your human rights, because there's a promise of something really sparkly when you die. And because it's this all-being thing, and it's so powerful, and you just have to go with it because you believe in it wholly. But when it's physically something that's happening to everybody around you, and you're being asked to do something by an actual group of people who are real, I know personally, I don't know if Bojo is real. Actually, I think he might be actually a muppet.
Do you think he's
I think he's an actual puppet.
Do you think he's a lizard person?
I don't know what he is, but he's
David Icke
slowly
has something to say.
he's slowly melting in front of the whole world. But
Did you just say he's a legend?
Yeah, legend.
God, you're a
He'll
little.
go down in history.
You're a little Tory.
He will
boy,
go down
aren't
in
you?
history, yeah.
Yeah.
Along with David Icke.
Pol Pot's. Chairman Mao.
So let's talk about the big two. I don't know how long we've got left here. The big two. Let's talk about ghosts.
I'd love to believe in ghosts. I would love to.
Ever had a
don't know how you
paranormal
can't.
experience?
What do you mean I don't know how I can't? Have you ever seen a
No,
ghost?
but I know people that have.
Who?
Hayden's had one.
What did Hayden experience?
I think he went on holiday to Cornwall with Lizzie and Lizzie's family, and this weird cottage or something. And apparently, he kept hearing like something downstairs, and he said to Lizzie, "Oh, I think your dad's downstairs messing around." And apparently, he wasn't. He was in his bed. So he went downstairs. He explained it a lot better. I can't remember how he explained it, but he went downstairs. There was nothing there, and apparently, he could literally feel someone breathing. Like he heard someone walking down the stairs next to him and like felt someone breathing, but there was no one there, and he was like ran up the stairs and just heard someone like run up the stairs after him, or something like that. And apparently Lizzie's mum was saying as well that like cupboards kept opening in the kitchen just randomly, like, and drawers were just slowly opening and stuff like that, and it was just really weird. Yeah.
a haunted cottage in Cornwall.
Yeah, and apparently that they like read the reviews or something, or spoke to the owner. Apparently, a lot of customers have said they've experienced the same sort of stuff.
Yeah, see, that
Interesting.
takes us back though to the point we were making earlier, where it's subliminal.
Yeah.
If you're
I think-
told that a
But
place
they were
is
never told
haunted,
until after it happened.
Right, but
Oh, okay.
They only
well, that's
they only
different
asked
then, yeah.
after.
no, that's fine.
Yeah.
But what I would say is, all of us have been raised in an era of TV, and there's a lot of TV shows out there regarding ghosts and hauntings and things like that. So if you're in a cottage out in the sticks or something like that, and you hear a noise downstairs, your mind's going in one of two places normally: intruder, ghost.
Yeah.
If you go down there and there's no one there,
Ghost.
intruder's out the window, it's ghost. So your brain's automatically going, oh shit, there's a fucking ghost here. And yeah, you might feel something on the back of your neck because your instincts, your body's going.
But hearing someone
you
walking
might
down
be in
the
danger.
stairs and no
Yeah,
one
but you
being
might.
there.
But did you hear that, or did your brain tell you heard that?
So
Or
I
drawers
have a
opening. Your brain's not going to tell you that drawers
See,
opening.
that is quite a definitive piece of
Yeah.
proof.
But that's not a personal experience you've had.
If
That's,
the
that's a
floors,
third
if
party
the,
story.
if the floors
That's
are
the thing.
wonky, drawers will open.
Yeah.
Like we've had that before.
Not
And
like
this
literally
isn't.
pulled open and then a cupboard open. That wouldn't just constantly happen, would it?
It would if the
It would
floors
constantly
wonky.
happen. Yeah.
Not saying that they
My-
would. They were.
My mum told me when she was just moved into a flat with my dad that she woke him up in the middle of the night because the bed was about 3 foot off the floor. And I'm like, oh, that's right, great mum. I don't believe her because I don't believe in that sort of things. I've never experienced it personally, and there's no physical proof of anything like that. No one has captured footage of a ghost, a real ghost, that's been proven not to be.
But they've captured footage of weird stuff happening.
Weird stuff can happen.
Yeah.
Doesn't
But
mean
how
there's.
would you explain it?
Well, there's going to be an explanation. Otherwise, the government will have to come out eventually and say there are things called ghosts.
Yeah,
and
this is
stuff
it.
like
I
that.
suppose that if you look on if you get on YouTube,
There's
where
always going to be an
there's-
explanation for it.
There is
It
loads.
isn't necessarily.
I've just if you were watching this and you're not watching this on video because it's not, but
Where's all your lights gone?
I have I have a
That's what
lamp
we're talking
that's on
about,
a
ghosts.
timer that has literally just gone off.
Okay, that was weird.
I just saw your screen go blank. It's like shit. They've been got.
I'm just going to put the light on. The
never
other light.
happened to me, but they're all dead now.
There we go. So
So I have a story from when I was little, and you've heard this story before, and this is where you've sort of said to me that probably because I was so young that it was things I heard people talking about in the house. But we used to live off Harrow Road, off Narborough Road when I was growing up. So Joe and I were still sharing a bedroom. That's how young we were.
Yeah.
So I was saying my prayers, as a good little Catholic girl does, before I was going to sleep. And I looked up, and the end of my bed faced out towards the door on the hallway. And I saw the back end of a baby in a baby grow crawl across the doorway. I thought it was my brother, but then looked over and realised he was actually in his cot in our room. So because I was saying my prayers, just assumed it was the baby Jesus. Never said anything to anyone until a few years later when I was telling this story, and my mum and dad went, "This is when we lived on Roman Street." It's like, yeah. My dad was like, "Me and your mum always heard a baby crying. Couldn't work out where it was coming from because it was never you or your brother, and there were no other babies that lived sort of either side because they knew the families either side." And I just went cold. I was like, oh my God. And it was weird because, but like John said, maybe as a baby, I heard them going, "Oh, you can hear this." Like parents talk around their children, don't they? So that could be what it was. I also used to have a recurring nightmare when I was in primary school that I was being crucified. So, a good old Catholic upbringing will do weird shit to you.
Once you've gone through all your therapy.
Yeah, that's what it was. Apparently my nan told me once that when my mum was younger, she got sent to her room and she could hear like talking or something in my mum's room, and went up and was like, "Who are you talking to?" And she turned around saying, "Oh, I'm talking to my uncle who apparently died like a few weeks earlier." Before that,
so maybe
she always
was
tells me
like
that story. Yeah,
talking to his spirit.
apparently
Yeah,
she was like
that's a
literally
weird
sat
one,
up
isn't it?
having a full-on conversation with someone and said she could like and she was talking to him or something.
Well, you used to do that in your sleep. You used to sit up
Sleep
and talk.
talking's amazing.
Oh God, it was horrible. He used to shout and scream in his sleep.
You see, did your mum remember that?
I can't remember actually. I can't remember this. I think she does. Yeah. I don't actually know, but yeah.
Because we were just talking before about fake memories and things, weren't we? About how you tell yourself something enough times, or
Or you're told it,
suddenly,
then
yeah,
it
or you've been
becomes
told it suddenly
real.
it becomes a reality.
Yeah.
And what you also find with, like you were saying, with ghosts and things like that, like it's always out the corner of your eye, a little bit of this, the back end of a baby just going past the door, never
Full
4 or
on.
5 seconds of a baby crawling past.
Or
It's
baby
always
walks
just
up to you
a little
going,
bit of this or a little bit of that.
"What?"
Yeah,
Didn't Liz have a weird thing as well where like a quilt kept getting pulled off her?
That's because she's a witch.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, she used to tell me that all the time.
She was probably just saying it.
Well, you
Yeah,
went in and pulling the
probably.
cover off.
She used to tell you as well, and you just didn't. Promise you. Yeah, she used to say she used to feel like a quilt was always being pulled.
Probably because Alyssa was afraid of whatever. I think this is the thing. I think
Yeah, but she wasn't. Alyssa used to sleep like a blooming vampire. Light
Yeah, I
off,
know.
eye mask, lights, no lights
Yeah.
anywhere. And it's like she wasn't. And even now, she's not.
I'm very open to that. I mean,
Afraid
I am
of
an open skeptic. I've been on quite a few ghost hunts.
I love
like,
a ghost hunt.
and
I love a ghost
and things
story.
like that. I do absolutely love them, but I've never experienced anything. And is it that thing where I might have experienced stuff, but my brain doesn't go to it's a ghost. It's there's an explanation for that noise or that weird thing or something that's happening. But again, I've never experienced anything that I could say. And I've been to lots of very haunted places. And again, like you say,
Well, look at
like
what
you
happened
said,
when we were
Jim.
in Stratford. When I thought I got shoved, and that woman next to me was convinced it wasn't her bag. She was like,
yeah,
"It
so we
wasn't
went to
my bag.
the
It wasn't
Falstaffs,
my bag."
which is one of the most haunted houses in England. It's supposed to have been inhabited by 40 odd ghosts. It dates back to Henry VIII. And it's a big old place. It's a museum in the day, and they do ghost tours around it at night. So it's a big old place. It's like a terrace.
Yes, they're allowed to go and
witches used to
practice
do, like
their
white
witchcraft
witches used to
there.
do a thing until apparently they conjured something, or some dark witches conjured something. And this is only up until quite recently. We're talking like
10
late
years ago.
20th century. We're not talking
Oh.
like we're not
10
talking.
years ago.
Well,
Oh, yeah, I
20
suppose
years ago. We're not talking like 200 years ago. And they did ghost hunts around there, and the most haunted have been there. And there's supposed to be a number of ghosts. One of them is supposed to be a very strong ghost in this certain area of a guy who was a rapist. And he used to. They always, when you go in this room, they separate the men and the women from each side because he likes to be in and around the women. And people say they can smell his breath like cabbage because he's got bad breath and things like that. And he likes to like touch women's hair and things like that. And then out of nowhere, Rachel screams like she's been pushed in the back.
Literally felt like someone's fist went like that and shoved me in the back.
And then she thought it was the woman's bag next to her. and we just assumed that it was this woman's bag next to her. Everyone was laughing. Blah, 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 went back. When we got back to the hotel room, Rachel had a massive red mark on her back, like literally like someone had thumped her, like a big red. Well, it wasn't until we were getting changed to go. I was like, oh shit, look at that. Big red mark on her
I mean,
back.
it could be that subconsciously I kept rubbing that
Rubbing
bit,
it, yeah.
but
Yeah.
we don't
Who
know.
knows?
But I was convinced
But
I felt
didn't
it,
experience.
and it
I
was
didn't
like
experience anything.
no.
Didn't experience anything.
I
Well,
did scream as soon as we walked in, though, didn't I? At the
statue.
the statue that was in the
I mean,
doorway. So
you are
know.
the most fraidy cat kind of
Yeah.
person I've ever met. I mean, I've walked in to your house previously and gone, hi, and you've gone,
Yeah, you've screamed when I've walked in as well. a few times.
Yeah,
and John's told me
true.
that, you know, he's been sitting in the living room and you've walked in and screamed, even though he lives in the house and you knew he was in there.
Yeah.
It's because I'm so convinced I'm always going to see a ghost.
And I've been on like ghost hunts where people are so desperate to look for stuff and find stuff that it just becomes a bit annoying. They're talking about all sorts of noises, and we went to one at the Halloween one around the Battle of Bosworth Field. And we went around Bosworth Field at like late at night. We went onto there's like a disused train station there that's supposed to have children running around, and they used like an app on an iPad. We were supposed to have some sort of sensor on to be able to see ghosts in the. I was like, it's a fucking app on an iPad. Can download that on my phone. That means nothing.
Yeah.
And they heard a noise of all things in the
Heard
middle of
noise.
the fields. A horse neighing.
And they're like, oh my
And I was,
God.
oh my god, horse from the battlefield. Blah, blah. And there was a local guide there who like knows the area. Where are the nearest horses? Oh, not
There's
for
no
about
horses
2 miles
here.
away.
Yeah.
No horses. It's like you're in the middle of nowhere in the horses field
countryside.
in Bosworth.
Yeah.
It's like
There's
and
probably a horse
neighed.
walking down the
not-
road.
Yeah, exactly. It's not like we saw 2 men in chainmail just beating
Did
the
you see
shit
the
out of
horse?
each other. No, of
Well,
course we
you
didn't.
might not have been. You might have actually been a horse ghost.
Ghost, you've got a ghost. Might have been.
You can't say it wasn't if you
I'll
had
be
I can't,
honest.
I can't.
I'd be disappointed if the only ghost I saw was a horse ghost.
But
I
again,
at least
but
want
so
like
many
You see an actual real life ghost.
No.
Horse. How do you know it wasn't?
I don't exactly.
Exactly.
I don't. Of course, I don't.
Yeah.
But
I'm pretty
you
pretty
have
sure
to
it
go
wouldn't
with
be.
what's.
But why would he lie and say, "Oh, the horses are 2 miles away"? If there was one down.
Because he's
right
running
down
a
the-
ghost
and you're
tour?
not,
Because-
and you're not going to hear a horse.
Hang on, he's running a ghost tour. What do you think he's going to do?
Yeah, but
no,
you-
it's that horse over there,
You're
mate.
going to hear a horse neighing when it's next to you, not even if it was.
It was.
like,
It was
It
a
was in the
distant name.
distance.
It wasn't
And
like. It
sound
wasn't
was
like
not
shit. There's a horse
carried.
yeah,
behind
but
me.
if it was 2 miles away, you're going to hear that, are you?
Well, put it this way.
Sound
right,
carries, you know.
You're in the
for
countryside.
2 miles.
So
Yeah.
you make a good point, Ethan, because this is the mentality of paranormal, isn't it? It's you're in the middle of the countryside, literally in the middle of the countryside. There's nothing really around you other than the odd farmhouse, and you hear a horse neigh.
Yeah, the chance of it being a real horse is very high, but
Exactly. No, you're right. Of course, there's a slim percentage.
unless you've
that it
actually
could-
seen that horse, you can't disprove it wasn't.
Oh, exactly right. No, you're dead right. But you have, with all of these things, when you're talking about what's paranormal and what isn't, you have to be able to disprove. You have to be able to disprove what you think you can disprove. So this, I suppose, like ghost hunting shows are some of my favourite shows. I absolutely love them.
You love them, don't you?
And I'll always talk about. I've
can't
probably
get on with
mentioned
them.
this before. There's obviously Ghost Adventures has always been my favourite with Zach Baggins, and there was one piece of evidence. I mean, there's so many on there that would like visually that you can see things getting knocked over, images that are really spooky. But there's always one, and it was taken in a munitions factory, and it was so good because it was such a well constructed piece of evidence. And they had 3 floors. They had static cameras on each floor, and they had sound stuff everywhere. And that's what they do. They go in. There's just 3 of them. They set up loads of static cameras, and one of the cameras in the middle floor picked up a gunshot. This is a munitions factory. A gunshot and a scream. Plain as day. Bang! Ah! Gunshot and a scream. Plain as day. None of the other cameras picked it up. And it was only picked up in this one floor. You're like, well, that's weird. And the best piece of evidence was about 20 minutes later, a car went by and honked its horn, and all 3 cameras picked up the honk of the horn.
Okay.
So you could say, well, all the cameras were working. They could all pick up the same sound at the same time, yet only one of them picked up this one. So again,
And I will say that was
could have been lots of things.
great bit of evidence. But this is a show
thinking.
about ghost hunting.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is edited for TV.
Yes.
And there's absolutely no way
That they
anyone
fucked
could have.
that shit up.
Yeah, there's
Exactly.
no way that anyone could edit that
Exactly.
to say we're real ghost
And that's
hunters.
exactly
and we
what
found...
that's
And
exactly
I
what
just
Most
don't
Haunted
believe
used to
it.
do.
Yeah.
Towards the end, they would be renowned for sort of like knocking things, or
Yeah.
some of the crew would do stuff, things like that. So yeah, you just never know.
But they seem quite real.
And
though.
with regards to
Yeah,
your
they
point
do, yeah.
about the horse, if I was round the corner, you couldn't see me, but I shouted your name, would you immediately think, dead Jim, or Jim's round the corner?
Yeah, but
When
it
you
depends
was-
at the distance of.
Okay, when
But then I'd see you after.
No,
when
but-
you were living here,
But if you saw
when you
that,
stayed here in lockdown, do you remember the trumpet guy?
Yeah, he was only
can-
down the road.
Well, we don't know that. No one has any clue where he lives. I'd never even heard the
But that's
trumpet
a trumpet.
guy.
Have you
I
heard
lived here
horse?
for
Have
9
you-
years,
have
and
you
I
heard
have
of
never
sound
heard
mirrors?
the trumpet
Yeah,
guy.
but that's a trumpet, not a horse.
Yeah, but
Have
trumpet
you heard
could
of
be
sound
considered
mirrors?
to be like a
Horses aren't that
a
loud.
medieval. A horse neigh
is very loud.
carries.
Yeah,
really
it's very
carries.
loud.
Does carry.
They built in
Well,
before.
I'm still. Unless
in
you've
World
seen
War
that
One.
horse, and you've actually seen the horse.
But
then-
how do you know it's that horse that did the name?
Huh? Because if there's horses around, then it's more likely. But
Yeah.
if you've generally
No,
not seen no
What if you
horse,
saw heard a car horn?
huh?
Couldn't see the car, but you heard a car horn. Ghost car?
You'd see the car if you see it.
But
car.
just in
No,
regards
not
to
necessarily.
in
You
regards
can
to
hear a
how
car
sound
horn,
carries,
Unless you-
they built sound mirrors before World War One or around World War One to listen for
Approaching bombers.
the big
Yeah.
inflatable what they're called?
Blimps.
Yeah,
Zeppelins.
Zeppelins to listen for them coming across the ocean, and they could pick up the sound of them. That's why they built these massive, great big concrete structures. I don't know if you've ever seen them. They're
Yes.
incredible.
Like
And that's
big
what they were
ears,
for.
basically.
Oh, great big semicircle is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they didn't have that.
Yeah, but they don't have to have
They're in the
that.
middle of
Sound
the field.
travels is what I'm saying. That picks up
Yeah,
sound.
but that picked it up for a that was made to pick up that sound.
Yeah, you know what these are? These are called your ears, you fucking idiot.
Yeah, whatever. Shit. You weren't there either, so shut your mouth.
Have you ever experienced anything, Ethan?
No, I don't think I have.
But you believe in ghosts?
Yeah.
You believe in them based on what other people have told you?
Third party stories?
I wouldn't say it's third party.
Well, it is. It's not you.
It's not you,
Yeah.
so yeah, it's third party,
Yeah.
isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
See,
just-
I've heard some very, very compelling third party stories.
I don't see how you can hear sort of story and think they just make it up. Some people would, but if you know that person well
Yeah.
enough, I wouldn't
Yeah.
believe that
Well-
they'd make something like that up.
I wouldn't necessarily believe they made it up. I believe there'd be a different reason or different
Yeah.
explanation
Right.
to how they
yeah,
got to
so
that. So if John
Yeah.
said
But
to
if
me,
you're so convinced, like you said earlier, you want it to be real, why would you be so like
well, you know,
against it?
you
But
said
also-
your friend, I'd love it to be real. I'd
So
love
why are
that.
you so against it?
Because I just don't think it. I don't think it is because there's no one's ever found or proved that there is ghosts.
Yeah.
And we're living in an age now where we're so scientifically advanced, technologically advanced. There would be a means to find these things, and if we can't, then for me it's not real.
Do you think there's anything? So do you think that when you die there's a spirit or there's something that lives on? Or
See,
energy that gets passed on to something else?
Atheist, so
Even as an atheist,
don't
you can
believe,
believe that there's...
don't believe in an afterlife or anything like that.
No.
We're here and done.
Yeah. But not like a transference of energy, maybe?
Nope.
See, I believe that potentially something can...
And again, I'll give you the reason for that. There's no recorded proof of a soul.
No, that's true.
So
No. Although I was remember reading a fact somewhere, I think it might have been on Instagram, and some guy was trying to prove it, and he weighed a patient as they were literally on their gasps of death, and as they died, they were 22 grams lighter.
That's a film. £7.
I was going to say, it's
Oh.
Will
You
Smith,
lose
isn't it?
£7 when you die.
£7 is a lot, but I'm guessing a lot
That's
of that
what it is.
is liquid and air.
Have I got that wrong?
It was 22
I can't
grams. I
remember.
thought this was well, not a lot.
Or is it
was
22 grams?
Will Smith filmed £7, isn't it?
£7.
Yeah.
That's
So
seven,
then
isn't that £7 of flesh? Isn't he like making up for something?
It
I
says
can't
at the
remember.
beginning of the film, it's the amount of weight or something that you
Yeah.
lose when you die or something. I don't know what it is. I can't remember. You'll have to.
But
Maybe
then that would,
Ethan can
if it
Google
was, then that would be a physical entity, like as opposed.
Then
It's
if
weird,
it
isn't it?
weighed
I don't know.
£7,
Stories as well of people dying, aren't there? I'm thinking that they've like floated away, can see their self
Yes,
dead
out of
and
body
then-
experiences.
yeah, again, but it's is that a shared delusion? So one person, say, nearly died, and they came back and said, "I saw a fucking bright white light. Everything flashed in front of my eyes. I've seen everything before."
Yeah.
And then loads of people told that to their friends. "Oh, did you hear about my mate?" And so on and so forth. And then someone else did it, and they'd had been told that story,
Yeah.
and they, then
But it had to originate from somewhere.
yeah, it would. But it doesn't mean that it's real just because it originated somewhere. I
Ghost
could start
stories
a
have been
rumour now
around
saying
for
something
ages.
absolutely horrible about you, and I will. And if that got told to enough people, I would be
It
the
would become the
originator.
truth,
But it doesn't
yeah.
necessarily
Looking on
mean
sort of
it's real.
touching on.
He's definitely a touchy nose.
I'm not a nonce, Jim. You look
But the
more
thing is-
noncy than me.
The thing as
Thanks,
well,
mate.
the one thing I want to pick up on that you said, Ethan, is why would someone tell you something that's not true? People do that all the time because it's
Yeah.
funny when someone else then goes around repeating a story that isn't true,
Oh, that's
and they've
hilarious.
started it,
Yeah.
Or because they want it to be true.
or because they want
Or
it to be
That's
true,
mainly
or
why
They
it
could
because
happens.
they
believe
believe
it
it's
to be
true.
true.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it doesn't necessarily.
There's
mean
also
it is.
same number of reports of people that have had like flatlined on boop, like been brought back
and seen
seen
something.
nothing and
Yeah.
seen nothing.
Yeah,
Just
that's true.
blackness.
Yeah.
Apparently, when you do die, though, chemically, your brain apparently releases shitloads of fucking chemicals, loads of
Endorphins
serotonin,
and
endorphins,
stuff, yeah.
like that you experience when
Like
you're
to get rid of
dreaming.
it all.
So that almost as a pain relief, almost as like a getting
Oh,
you like
okay.
as a shock mechanism type. Your body's about to give up, your brain just goes into overload.
Well, it's
That's
trying
why
to-
they. Is that why they say you see your life flash before your eyes?
Yeah, your brain just kicks, like just goes
It could
into
just
fucking
throw all the
overdrive.
memories. It may
Yeah.
So yeah, so it,
That
maybe
makes
it
sense,
creates
doesn't it?
something that
In the same with the thing with ghosts, you know, when someone goes, "Oh yeah, I felt something breathing on the back of my neck," that could just be your body because you're in a heightened state,
yes,
releasing some
very
chemicals,
true, yeah,
and
very
your
true.
adrenaline it makes your hairs on your back of your neck stand up.
Yeah.
On more than one
Yeah.
occasion, on more occasions than I would like to have happened. I have woken up and opened my eyes and seen someone standing in our bedroom, and then woken up again,
Yeah.
and no one's there.
That's a
because
big
I'm
one we should
having a
have on it.
nightmare,
Yeah.
Deja
and
vu.
it's like
Yeah.
I can see them, and they're right there, and I'm staring, and then they just disappear, and then I actually wake up and
Well,
it's
it is-
gone.
it is
So
one
it's
thing.
like
It's like
that's
sleep
me
paralysis.
being.
It's like sleep
It
paralysis.
is. It's
Oh,
horrible.
That is
It's
a-
horrible, but that's me being super paranoid.
I've got a
that
good one
someone's
for
going
you.
to break in.
This is an interesting one because this happens to me not a lot, but it's happened a few times. Do you ever have a dream, then wake up, and a day or maybe
Not
the
a
same
dream.
day?
I have a thought,
Well, a dream.
and that thought then happens.
He's not finished what he was going to say.
Thank
No, but
Yeah.
you're saying you have. I know what you're going to say. You have a dream, and then that dream happens.
Yeah.
Something in that dream happens.
I don't have a thought while I'm asleep. I'm having a dream.
No, but I mean, I could be awake and like just when you're thinking, think something.
No, I'm
and then
I'm
a few
talking-
days later that happens.
Yeah, I'm talking about a dream, and then that happens. In a very similar way. You've ever had
Like
that?
deja vu.
But it's like deja vu, but from a dream. But are you
Strangely
misremembering a dream,
Yeah,
Or
are you associating something else
yeah,
to that dream?
Yeah.
Because
Or
I
you dream
sometimes
about
think
your future.
you could be.
strangely
But
enough,
yeah.
today I had that today when I was working. I think
Did
it
you
was,
dream you were going to have a crab
Just
in a cardboard box?
No.
And then you did.
It was a nightmare. No, God, no! Not again! I was just sitting working. I was like, I've done it. Like this feels like, and it did feel a little bit different than deja vu because it did feel like I remember this from a dream.
Dream, yeah, that's it.
And it
Is
was
that
more
just
of a
'cause you're
feeling.
always
It
thinking
was
about
more of a
work at the
feeling.
minute?
Possibly.
While it's
yeah.
happening, I'm thinking, well, I'm going to do this next. But then
Yeah.
is that me thinking I'm going to do it, so I do it?
Yeah.
Or would I have done
I
it
think
anyway?
I know what you mean.
I've had that quite a few times.
Yeah.
And deja vu's a real good one.
Thing is, your brain is so powerful.
Some people think
Yes.
that deja vu is like something that happened in a parallel universe, though, don't they?
Yeah,
Yeah.
well,
It's
there's
like
lots
you
of theories for
connect
it.
to
And obviously,
yeah.
the scientific community are very split on it.
Yeah.
But one of them, one of the theories is that you've got obviously two eyes, and one is perceiving things very quickly, very short amount of time before the other. So as you turn, you could see something and then see it again,
Yeah.
and your mind's gone deja vu. But
Yeah.
it's the processing of it. I mean, it could be that one eye seeing it before the other.
Or the third eye.
What are you pointing
So
at?
here we go.
Aliens.
Big one. Aliens. Oh, where do we stand on? I'd like to also point out that on this list, most of the gentlemen here said they didn't believe, whereas Rachel did believe.
I believe
And that
in
you
it.
do find that, but more so, you do find that women tend to believe in more paranormal things than men, because men then tend to go down that analytical sort of.
But I must believe there must be something else out there. Not like obviously green.
Yes, this is
There
why.
has
This
to
is why
be.
I said no, then a maybe, because aliens
We
and
literally can't be the only living thing. In
that's
the
it.
universe.
Yeah,
We would be,
no.
we would be
Physically
so.
I think there's probably. I think there
Arrogant
could
to
be
believe that we
loads
were.
of
Yeah.
versions of Earth. I think
And-
there's loads of planets where people are living like we are, and we just haven't found them.
Well, I don't
What
necessarily
about
think living like
aliens
we are.
as in so?
Well, yeah, no, not
Visit-
exactly the
visited
same,
Earth.
but
Visited Earth then.
I think.
aliens.
I think
Well,
there could have
why?
been.
How is it we can go to the moon and we can travel through space, but no one else can?
Yeah.
Why is that okay? Why is it okay that we believe that
I
we're
don't know. It
so
shouldn't be okay, should it?
No, that's
Everyone
what I'm
should be able to do it, Ray.
saying.
You're right.
No, what I'm
bloody
saying
alright.
is,
I'll
why
tell you-
are we so?
I'll tell you why,
high-
because
Swim
we've
in
got-
different universes.
No,
well,
no, no,
there
no.
could be something.
I've got the answer for
Probably
Rachel's question. here.
interdimensional, you mean?
Yeah.
We have a much stricter immigration policy
So I've heard. Yeah, unaccompanied alien children now are not allowed.
Yeah, no,
to
they're separated
seek
from their
refuge here.
parents.
They're
Yeah.
separated
They're put
from their
in-
parents, and we won't help them.
They're put in a moon prison while the
Yes.
parents are being.
Yes.
They're going to force to pass a citizenship test.
I think it'd be extremely arrogant of us to think that we're the only life forms in the galaxy,
That can travel.
or in any of the galaxies. We've apparently found evidence of life on other planets, not necessarily our kind of life, as in human beings,
But the ability to have life,
single
create
cells,
life,
and
water.
there's been water, which is obviously a breeding.
So I think
But
you're
yeah,
right.
did
I
they
think
find like aspects of water on Mars and stuff?
Yeah,
yeah.
it used to have lakes.
If
and
you think
rivers.
about the whole theory of evolution, the idea being that you continue and continue and continue until you either just mess it all up and everything just goes to shit, and then it just starts again.
Yeah.
So why is it like what we don't know whether we were the first, we're the last, we're in the middle. All of these other planets where there is water, is that because that went through the cycle and all that's left is the seas? Or maybe it's waiting to go through the cycle and the
basing
organisms
this
are
on-
forming in the sea.
Yeah, we're basing this on, obviously, when we look at planets and say, is there a chance there was life there? We're looking at a water-based life form.
Or could we live there? Well,
But, yeah, could
maybe
we live
not,
there? Yeah,
but
but
something else
it doesn't mean
would.
that there's not a sulfur-based life form or
Yeah.
a iron-based life form. What we consider to be a life form might be completely different to the people
Well-
on,
Well, they.
another planet.
So we all
Kepler 22b.
we all believe then that
That has to
at
be.
some point in this universe there is other creatures.
Yeah, whether they
Yeah.
visited our planet, and I mean, that's
Or whether
another,
they're still alive now, they might have been.
that's another
past.
thing. Would they have visited this planet? What makes our planet special?
Because we could just be a normal planet.
Do you believe that they visited this planet?
I don't know. I don't believe it, but I don't.
Because if we can't
disbelieve
visit
it.
theirs, why
I'm
would
open
they
to
come
it.
here?
Well, we haven't visited any other planets.
Other than the moon.
It's not a planet.
What about you,
Oh,
Ray?
yeah, it's a star, isn't it? Sorry.
It's a moon.
I do, I
Star.
see. I don't. They might. These things that people keep seeing might not actually be aliens. They might actually just be like astronauts. And
Well-
it's like
Astronauts as in like
so
humanoids.
So
Humans.
astronauts-
yeah,
yeah.
because you know how we were watching that thing the other day, and I was like, that description you see of an alien, a human body with a massive head. Well, that's an astronaut
Yeah.
with their big helmets. But because we're told from when we're very little that they've got the big eyes and this, that, and the other. That's what you see when that thing is put
That's
in
it,
front
yeah.
of you.
But that
And
could
it's
have
like,
just been a futuristic helmet.
yeah, it
that
could
look
be.
like that.
But
Yeah,
this is again the thing. The mass, like everyone's been conditioned to think like that.
yeah.
And when something happens, it's like going back to the ghosts. It's either an intruder or a ghost. It's either an alien or something else.
It could
But
be an astronaut from
it
another,
could be- it
from
could
another
just-
country, from another planet.
Well,
It
that's
could
what an
be.
alien would be.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I mean. But I don't. So
But would it be
yeah,
an
I'm
alien
saying
or
I
would it
don't
just
think
be
it's. I don't think
another
I don't
human
think.
planet with other humans on?
Well, because the meaning of the word alien
Possibly.
isn't actually some weird
'Cause an
creature.
alien is
It's
from
just
outer space.
something that's
Yeah.
just not
Yeah.
from here, isn't it?
But there could
It's
be
like,
literally a whole planet like
you are
us.
alien to this
It's like you could
world.
be an alien
What,
in
as
New
in-
York.
But more
An illegal
futuristic.
alien.
You don't know.
I'm a legal alien.
Where do we
I'm
think
an
Star
Englishman.
Wars written?
In New York.
Obviously, that's
In New
based
York.
on real life.
It's in a
It's
galaxy,
in a galaxy far, far
though.
away, a long time ago.
Which one of you two keeps farting? Because it's
I think it's
fucking
the dog,
stinks
sorry.
in here.
So
Where do you stand on aliens? On the head, squish them.
Squish them on the neck, on the
Yeah,
windpipe.
yeah.
Um,
If they have a windpipe.
It's always been something that I've always enjoyed. That and ghosts have been the two big things for the paranormal for me. Ghosts have always been about proof and things. Always been difficult. Aliens, over the last probably 4 years, I would say I'm 90% convinced that either we have been visited, are being visited, or there is something still among us in some way.
And what makes you think that?
I find there's so when you dig around, there's
Is it just
so
a
much
feeling?
evidence.
Is it just
No,
a
I think there's so many sightings. There's
I
so
don't
many
think
photos.
I don't think you
there's
can
so
use the
many
word
videos.
evidence unless it's actually been.
There's a documentary. Again, this comes from a podcast I listened to, but I found the documentary that these two guys put together.
Is this the Bob Lazar one?
No, there's Bob.
Okay.
So Bob Lazar's one all in his own.
Yeah.
And he has maintained his story since the 80s that he
Yeah.
worked on a propulsion system. Have you seen the Bob?
Yeah, I've
have you
seen it,
the
yeah,
Bob
yeah.
Lazar? He worked on a propulsion system that was gravity fed, like anti-gravity,
Yeah.
so which means that things can move up, down, like anti-inertia, like
Yeah.
flies do. And he worked on that for many years. and they'd also discovered a new element, which he was said to have stolen part of, whatever it might be. But he came out in the 80s and said that he'd found all this stuff, that he came out and that he'd released it, and he'd been hounded by the FBI since. Well, in 2015, this element apparently miraculously appeared on the periodic table, and some of the stuff that he said happened, and some of the inventions that came out of what he said was going to be coming out in the 80s had come out.
Yeah.
And that all these craft had been lined up. That he saw 7 or 8 of these weird craft that they apparently recovered. The Pentagon only last year came out and said they do have craft they believe is not of this world. They can't say what it is. They don't know. That's apparently a direct quote from the Pentagon that was in the New York Times. And the documentaries, you have to pay for it at the minute. It's on Amazon, but you can find it elsewhere. It's called The Phenomenon, and it goes through all the kinds of different things that have happened, from sightings all the way up to different things that have gone on. But it goes right back from the earliest ever sightings, back in the 20s and 30s and things. And it seems to be that since the use of nuclear weapons in the Second World War, that interest from, let's say, whatever, interstellar beings became a lot more intrusive. And there was some very compelling evidence around the 80s and 90s of things visiting secretive missile silos in the UK, in Russia, in Kiev, and in America, and fucking with missile silos and nuclear launch sites, turning them off, turning them on. In Kiev, starting a countdown, apparently, starting that they couldn't shut down, that was going to launch a weapon, and then stopping it. And these were documented. And these people that were interviewed worked there. These things have been declassified now, but these are people that have worked in and around these areas, these stations. Got no reason to lie, no reason to bullshit, saying how fucking scary it was. And again, it categorises lots and lots of evidence, and one of the most compelling ones, I think is right at the end, is the school in
South Africa,
in Zimbabwe, I think it is, or somewhere like that, and it's happened in Australia as well, apparently, in a school, both in schools, in the middle of the day.
A whole class saw
A craft landed at the end of the school playing field in Australia. It hovered above, apparently, and then went down below a load of trees, and they all went running down. The kids went running down. Loads of kids saw it. And they got ushered back in the classroom, and then it flew off, vanished. People went to investigate, and there was signs that something had been there, whatever it might be afterwards. But the one in Africa is this thing landed, and something got out, and somehow communicated with the kids in some way about, and they all talked about it. They all drew pictures of what they'd seen, and they hadn't talked about it until many years later. For this documentary, they brought them back and were talking to them as adults, and they were like, "Yeah, this happened." And one of the headmistress, I think at the time, teacher, came out and was like, "We sort of hushed it all up." It was on the BBC back in the 80s. They showed you the footage from the BBC in the 80s.
And kids take stuff at face value, don't they? So
Yeah.
it's like a whole group of children together can't cook something like that up.
No. And then you look at the Tic Tac thing. So this was going back to March last year when it came out. I don't know if the Tic Tac footage, the
aircraft.
Commander Fravor that saw in the Pacific.
Oh yeah.
The airline.
They're not called UFO
fighter
anymore. What are they
pilot.
called?
Oh, I can't remember what they're called now, but yeah, they're called something weird. But this thing, they tracked it moving at ungodly speeds in ungodly patterns that was completely unnatural.
Yeah.
And they're talking about it on radio too.
Yeah.
They reported it back to
yeah.
the ship they were at, and they said, "Yeah, we see these all the time," and it fucked off below the ocean, vanished. And they said they see these things come in and out of the sea quite a lot. And he looked down into the ocean as this thing went down. He said they saw this like a whale-sized thing, like a pod in the water, just below the surface. And he said it just stayed there. It just stayed there, and then it fucking vanished down. And that's been seen a lot. I think there's so much coming out now. I don't know. It's just...
Do we think it's aliens, or is it possibly people from Atlantis
under the
going
water?
up?
Well, if you think but then there's also theory that
Maybe there's aliens, but in our own.
that
Right,
a couple of
deep
Apollo
down.
missions saw things on the dark side of the moon. Now, if you were launching some sort of
Yeah,
That's Iron,
Transformers.
that's
We've all
Iron
seen
Sky.
Transformers.
That's Iron Sky, and it was Nazis in space.
that's so bad. That
It's
film.
so bad.
But if you were to be launching some sort of probing like, would you use that as a launching platform? No one can see that side. Same as the ocean, like you said, nothing's been seen. You can't be seen at the bottom of the ocean. If they can move like and control gravity,
It
there's
would
nothing
make
to stop them being
sense.
able to just shoot to the deepest depths of the ocean.
Obviously,
Shoot
they'd have to have
back up again.
You know, water pressure would compress them, so they'd have to have some sort of.
Well,
there is something.
Well, if they
there is
create
something
their own,
stopping
if they
them.
create their own gravity,
Yeah, you don't know
if
what
they
they're
create
Yeah,
their,
no,
then
that's
they'd
what I'm saying. There is
it'd
something
be
stopping
pushing.
them.
It'd be
They'll have to
pushing.
do something.
That's it.
But one of the best bits of footage that I ever saw, and that's what really got me interested in it. Like I said, I don't necessarily believe that there are aliens, but I really want to,
Yeah.
sort of thing. Was do you remember the Star Wars program? Not Star Wars.
Yes.
So it was what was it? Was it Reagan set it up?
Reagan set it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically to
America and Russia.
Basically-
fight aliens.
Well, it was yeah.
And
to
into
protect,
ballistic missiles.
ballistic
But they
missiles.
say it's
Yeah.
for aliens. Yeah.
but yeah, and there was some footage, and whether it's real or doctored, I don't know, because obviously the Star Wars program was decommissioned and never really apparently got going.
Yeah.
But there was something coming into our atmosphere, and as it did, something from the planet, or from just from one of the satellites, went flying towards this thing, and it did like a big U-turn and shot off at speed.
Yeah.
And they're basically saying this is something that was shot at that UFO, and that UFO evaded it and fucked off.
Yeah.
And I was like, I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. That is great.
Yeah.
I mean, whether there are things visiting us, I don't know, because obviously none of us know.
We
But
talked before about hieroglyphs and things like that. You're talking about big giant people and things like that. There are these alien heads that appear in like
Yeah,
certain
people are
hieroglyphs
convinced
in
they
certain
helped build the-
places. Yeah.
the pyramids,
Pyramids
and
and
stuff.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, but if they were not necessarily, they could have been visiting in the same. Like if something happened and there was a cataclysmic event and most of humanity was wiped out, or all of humanity was wiped out, and all that was left was just a few fragments of things, there would perhaps be books or things like that that had alien heads in. Like
Yeah.
and that's not to say that they were among us and they taught us loads of stuff, but there's enough out there that we've done, drawings and films and pictures and animations or whatever it might be, that another civilization could discover what we've written and gone, oh my god, aliens lived among them. Well, no, we just people may have seen things in the same way they may have seen things.
There is proof of aliens anyway, because I've seen a video of a guy dragging an alien across a desert, and he's got like a cigar in his mouth, and he's wearing a
it's a
vest.
bloke called Will, weren't it?
That's right. Yeah,
Is that
Will-
when the
yeah,
White
Will
House got
Smith,
blown up?
That's him. Yeah,
And he says,
yeah.
doesn't he say something about close encounter and then punches it?
Yeah,
I'll give you a
true.
close encounter. Yeah.
Yeah.
Will Smith.
That's him.
Yeah, he's a nice fella. Yeah.
Yeah.
I suppose, are they interdimensional? Are they interstellar? Who knows? Or if they are, I don't know. It's
But yeah, for me, there is other life out there. Whether it's visiting us, I don't know. I don't know.
I believe there is, and I believe they have, and I think they still are, and I think it's going to. I think the government agencies know more than they're letting on for. They perhaps don't have the resources to dig into all the stuff, because that's what this thing was about. It was about a government agency that was set up to Blue Book or something like that to look into all of these.
They had that that lady and bloke working for 'em, Mulder and Scully.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They looked into all that sort of
They
stuff.
probably wouldn't want to tell us
She
either, 'cause they don't
became
want to scare
a
everyone.
detective
Well, this is
Yes,
just on-
yes, that's right. Yeah,
later
yeah.
on.
She
in life.
later in life she became in Northern Ireland, was
That's
it? Yeah,
right,
yeah.
It'd be an
yeah.
uproar.
Or was
wouldn't
it in Ireland? I can't remember.
I think it was Republican.
Wasn't she also
I'm
a
not
sex
sure.
advice?
She definitely was.
Sex therapist.
Yeah, sex therapist. Yeah. Yeah.
Many hats.
Yes.
What were you saying just then, Ethan?
Well, it'd scare people, wouldn't it, if they told them the truth?
Would it though?
I think it would, yeah.
Would it? I
I
mean,
mean, actually
Perhaps
would.
be. I think it would be if you.
Because I think people like the idea of it, but if it actually happened,
yeah.
they just wouldn't believe. They just couldn't believe
Who
it.
was it that said? Again, it might have been someone like Reagan, who said how quickly we would have forgotten all the world's problems if suddenly we had
a spaceship
yeah,
in our atmosphere.
a bigger.
Well, that's
a
the
bigger
thing.
interstellar
It's
sort of
not
problem.
We'd no longer be
necessarily.
then. Yeah, we'd no longer then be countries.
No.
We'd be
Yeah.
a world.
And it's not
Yeah.
necessarily that people would be scared. It's that actually, like exactly what we've had this discussion so
We
many
would come
times.
together.
We would come, and that would mean a lot of people would lose a lot of money and a lot of power.
Yeah.
If all of a sudden there was no separation and segregation, a lot of people would lose their power and money, and they
Yeah.
can't have that.
It's just strange how some of these things now started to, like I say, when the military start leaking stuff, and when especially in America, when they start releasing bits and bobs and information, and it's coming directly from like the Pentagon, and it's being like the New York Times are reporting on it, and it's coming from the military and stuff like that. And then you've got to sit up and go, fuck.
And they do it in broad daylight, don't they? As if it's that perfect thing of putting it right out there so that nobody pays any attention to it.
Yeah, they won't think about it.
Yeah, and doing it at a time
Well,
where there's something else going on that people can be distracted by.
An interesting little tidbit. I'm not sure if it's the reason for their name, but UFOs and people that used to fly fighter jets,
Yes.
that saw UFOs and chased them,
Yes.
were called Foo Fighters.
They were. Yeah.
Ah, yes,
And
that's right. Yeah,
may have been where
that's
the band got their name.
It was, and it was also the name. Oh, that was what. Well, I think that comes from what the Nazis were, because the Nazis were trying to build flying saucers, and they were calling them Foo Fighters. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Were they? Well, of
Yeah.
course they were. Hitler was mental.
So
He was into all sorts. He was into
as-
the occult. He was into.
Oh, he did. Yeah, he wanted
everything.
everything, didn't he? Yeah, he was trying to find all manner of things going on. That's why, obviously, Dr. Mengele was given
dang.
so much leeway, trying to find out lots of shit like that. So, if the aliens are visitors, as you speculate they may be,
Yeah.
you think they're benevolent?
I don't know.
If governments are, if they're actually in contact with these things and stuff, because there's two possible outcomes, isn't there?
They're
Either
here to
they're
attack.
benevolent and they're helping us, and
Yeah.
if they are,
If they would
Why-
attack
why-
us, they
why
would have
do- why does it
attacked
have to be
us by now,
secret?
wouldn't they?
and if they're not benevolent and they're coming in, they will wipe us out.
Yeah.
Well, there's
And
never.
Ethan makes a really good point. Because they could, let's face it, if they are as they
can
appear
visit
to
us,
be,
they
they
could
could
easily
quite easily just
Destroy us.
attack us
Yeah.
and destroy us.
What if
So
they-
Why would they
obviously
wait
don't-
so long until
if
we
they're
get
real,
better,
they obviously
more
don't
powerful?
want
Well,
to.
they might
yeah.
not
to attack us then.
They might not be that much more advanced than us.
Well, they must be if they can fly so quickly to other planets.
You don't know how quickly it's been.
What if they are interdimensional or time traveling and they are us from the future?
Yeah.
What if? So this the Prometheus theory. What if they're the reason we're who we are?
Yeah.
What if we've got some sort of alien DNA, or what if they tampered with some sort of genetic coding, or they caused us to evolve in the
And
way
we're
that
the
we've
aliens.
evolved,
Yeah.
and they're just observers.
What if they are the God that everybody thinks they see?
Yeah.
What if they're the cause of religion because they've appeared to people and done things that are
And
so
miraculous.
magical, yeah, and miraculous,
Which is just technology that's far more advanced than people can understand. Yeah.
yeah.
Who knows?
It would be interesting, but God, can you imagine it though? Imagine if it just came out.
There's
Aliens
two
are real,
things I
and
would
here they
love
are
to see
waving.
being
They are just
real.
like,
Dinosaurs and aliens. I would love it. I'd love if dinosaurs were real,
that'd
and
be
I could
great,
live
wouldn't
alongside dinosaurs. And I'd
Dinosaurs
love it if I
are
could meet an
real.
Yeah,
alien.
they are real. They're just not around.
I mean, now.
Oh, right,
I'd love
if
it
they
if they
were
were here
around,
now.
yeah.
Oh yes, I do know they are.
Can you imagine seeing a dinosaur now? You imagine seeing like a T-Rex
You
or a
would shit
Brachiosaurus.
your
Yes, you would. But
It doesn't
would
matter
be
if it's a meat eater or it's a
I
herbivore.
know.
If you saw a
It would be
dinosaur, you would
amazing.
shit your pants.
it would be amazing.
What are we saying then? Aliens real or not?
Aliens are real, but not necessarily
what we-
aliens are visitors.
Yeah.
So there is life on other planets,
There's got to
and
be.
there has been life
to
on other
be,
planets.
Yeah, I think we're all in agreement on that.
Yeah.
I
But
do
it's
believe
whether
we've been
there's
visited. I
it's
do
whether
believe
there's
we've been
flying
visited.
aliens that are visiting us. At the minute, I'm sceptical.
Yeah.
Of that.
I would encourage everybody to watch that. Watch The Phenomenon. It's a really good documentary.
It is good.
I think we had to
yeah.
pay £4 to watch it on Amazon.
I'm not
but,
watching that then.
You might be able to find
We
it
nearly
somewhere
didn't.
else. You might be able to find it somewhere else. But
Yeah.
after
So
that was
what was you
great.
saying?
Yeah, ghosts. I suppose it's one of them where again evidence. It's hard to get evidence. Some people would say they have gotten evidence, but if there's a scientific thing that means that if there is a soul, then we all have a
I
soul.
suppose you can't
why
really
does some
say it unless something's happened to you.
why does
either
some
as well.
stay here and why does
Yeah.
some not stay here? Why does some
Yeah,
open
that's the
drawers in
thing. It's the lack
kitchens
of
and why some don't?
continuity, isn't it?
That's
This is the
that-
problem.
Yeah, I find
Yeah.
that, and I've always said this to when me and Alyssa have had this conversation. It's like, where is the if you wanted to find ghosts, you'd want to find where people die. Where do most people die? Probably
Home.
Hospitals.
in a
Oh,
hospital.
sorry, yeah.
Most people die in a
Yeah,
hospital.
so we're just going to go to. I mean, how many people have died? Actually, your home is quite old.
Depends what you think of a ghost, though. Would it be where they've died or where they've been buried?
Yeah, but what makes a ghost? Is it
Exactly.
know,
So this
yeah,
is it.
so you
It's,
just don't
it's
know,
like
do you?
exactly. So graveyards for one. So graveyards should be heaving with ghosts activity.
if
Should
that's
be able to go
if
there
it's where
always.
the physical body is,
Yeah.
then yeah, graveyards.
Or
If
in
it's
a
where the
hospital.
person died, then hospitals.
You go to a hospital. You should be wall to wall with ghost experiences and paranormal activity.
Unfortunately, in hospitals
ghosts
you
are
can't
everywhere.
because there's not enough beds for patients. The ghosts can't even get in there anymore. Yeah.
And
But
it's
yeah.
unfinished business.
I tell you where you will find a lot of ghosts is in like supermarkets.
Yes.
Yeah, lots of spirits.
Oh.
Well, with that crap joke, we should end it there.
Screw
Thank you, Rachel. Did you enjoy your time on our podcast?
Yeah, I did. Thank
Good.
you.
Now you owe us
Maybe
all
we'll have you
£5.
Maybe we'll have you back.
Maybe.
Maybe not.
But yeah, if you enjoyed, don't forget to subscribe, hit that notification button, and also like the video to see more of our great shows.
Hopefully, Ronnie will be back in the next one, and we'll be able to discuss parenthood, fatherhood.
Yeah, that'll be our
Parenthood.
next topic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fatherhood. I think that's going to be our next
Parenthood.
topic.
Fatherhood mainly is next.
We're all
Dads.
fathers. Well, you're not.
I'm
but,
not.
but potential fatherhood,
Yeah.
and also.
Not yet, though.
Well, no,
No,
not
not
yet.
yet.
But, and also, I'm your father, so you can talk about how I destroyed your childhood.
Yeah.
Fun times.
Fun times.
Fun
It's going to
times.
be a fun one.
I'll tell you what would be quite interesting. Obviously, once we've done that,
Yeah.
it would be quite interesting to get the children that are not here to perhaps give us their information,
View on
their view on
fatherhood.
our fathers. So
Yeah.
get Alyssa to just do a little bit, and Annie and
I had
Emily
some.
also.
I did get some questions actually, some fatherhood questions from the general public.
Oh,
So,
did you?
Yeah.
Did you get any for me?
Just a few questions. I did, maybe.
Oh, you pass them along.
No.
Okay.
We'll
Right,
discuss
see you
it
next
in
time,
the
people.
podcast. See you
Yeah.
next time. Hope you enjoyed.
Thanks for having me.
Bye.